hello! How is everyone on this nice, cold, icy day here in Michigan? I am ready to have some fun, and I sure hope you guys are too, because it's Tuesday, which means Great Ace Attorney 2, aka Tuesday. But I'm not alone today. As we made last second, we have a guest who I need to bring in here. Okay. Well, there's the spoiler. He's right there. He's actually waiting on his food, which I'm not surprised whatsoever. It's time to continue Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. So, I am going to at least give him a chance to unmute before I drag him in. But it's time. I believe we're picking up right at the start of episode 2, Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro. Oh, I know starting with this episode, a lot of stuff, well, even last episode, we've got a lot of stuff picking up from the first game. Yeah, Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro. And ready, cool. Welcome aboard, Detective Hawk. How are you?
Wait, when did I get upgraded to detective?
Because I'm the prosecutor. Didn't we establish this? It was never important to begin with anyway.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, you ready to ready to play?
Yeah, I've got it loaded up on my end too. So.
Oh, I figured you'd just watch my stream and we'd
No, I'm gonna do it with you on my end.
Well, we're starting on episode 2 of game 2. You know that, right?
Yep.
Okay, as long as you're aware.
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night. One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road.
Wait, I think I remember this one.
As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved. But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from
they're
his
talking about the first
harrowing
game.
plight, then in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night.
I got myself a Subway.
I dare say most can
we
still recall
like
the
Subway.
sensational headlines of the day.
Yeah, I got myself
Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas. Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
Ooh. My name is Runosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer just starting out on my journey. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law, having made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in a quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. Currently, I reside in the attic of that detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. But since a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I've lost my right to return. Are they talking about the last game finale where the guy died right as we were about to prove him guilty? I believe that's how the first game ended.
I wouldn't be surprised. But the other part of it is technically he if I'm remembering right, Susatu technically withheld evidence.
Yes.
And that occurred at the crime scene as well. So that
yeah.
could have gotten us booted out.
Yeah, I really wish we would have continued right off from the get-go. But, you know, we can only handle so much. Alright, The trial was just one small part of an epic tale, a tale which was now about to awaken from slumber, thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland.
Okay, I knew I was hungry, but I didn't know. Okay, was as well.
Yeah, I know. Well timed. What a delicious smell wafting up the stairs.
Hey, you stay away from my sandwich.
Oh, must be time for breakfast. I better go down to Mr. Sholm's suite. Say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate. 30th of August, 7:28 a.m., Sholm's suite.
August 30th, 7:28, 8 a.m. The Sholm's suite.
Iris! I love Iris. Oh, that's right. She calls him Runo. Ah, Runo. Good. I was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready. Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. I had a surprise this morning.
Not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. This could be just the abstruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation-repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow.
Morning to you, Mr. Sholmes.
Yes, I see. So that's it. The truth is as clear to me as day. My faculties of observation have revealed it yet again.
What are you talking about?
You, Mr. Naruhodo, have this very morning met with a surprise.
I've just announced it.
Well, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation.
Firstly,
your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button of your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to you having been flushed at this morning.
can I talk now?
But of course! I don't look for admiration, you understand.
My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you.
Oh, it has?
And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember. By you. Hurley pulled your button off?
Ah, yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. Then, to my utter dismay, third string snapped! Why did it have to happen? Hey!
Heads up,
You
you peaked your mic on that Y.
No wonder then that in my vexation I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place.
Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket.
It's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is. Somewhere thereabouts on the floor, one presumes.
Helpful.
The matter at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was unnerring.
I don't know. Sounds that last word.
Unnerring?
Unnerring, I'm guessing.
That's my best guess at this point.
But Hurley, Bruno said it. Bruno said it when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning.
Well, that really is a surprise.
Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire, the famous consulting detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name. Alright then, enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it gets cold. And I have a new herbal tea for you too. my latest special blend. And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholm's lodger and companion. A truly exceptional young girl, who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, as published in Ranced magazine.
So, Mr. Naruhodo, won't you put us out of our misery? What surprised you this fine morning?
Ah, well, I received a letter. From Japan. From Susie, you mean? Was it? Really? That's right. She had some rather startling news, in fact.
Ah, intriguing indeed. You must tell us all about it over breakfast.
Oh yes, what fun. Ah, we can finally explore. I would like to examine... There's a few... What is with the knife up here? When it gets to this time of year, Londoners seem to leave their hearts alight all day long, and I love it. There's something very relaxing about watching the game flames flit and dance about.
But a fireplace in days of summertime is a waste of space. No use at all.
Why is that orange? Rather like a great detective in days of no crimes and no criminals, Hurley?
Consider this. Fireplace. A frost place. That's my latest idea.
Of course.
An extraordinary...
Let me...
Emanates a cool breeze in the hot summer months. What do you think?
That's right, this is before air conditioning. I think if you invented such a thing, your name would go down in history.
The principle is extremely simple. One must, of course, light a cold fire in the hearth.
I don't know about that, but yes,
yeah,
of course.
I don't know about that either.
Brilliant!
Trouble is, the fires I build ever burn cold. Oh, it taunts me!
So, as you British say, it's a bit of a damp squib. That covers the whole...
That covers the whole fireplace, yeah.
Yeah. You can look at his violin, which I'm fairly certain is a viola.
Well.
Ah yes, Mr. Sholmes' faithful musical companion. Wasn't this violin made by somebody famous? Yes, it's a Stradivarius. Though I'm afraid you'd have to save up for 100 years before you could afford one, Runa. But didn't you buy it for a song, Mr. Sholmes?
Found it at a pawnbrokery among the forfeited articles. Forfeited articles. It clearly said Stradivarius on the label.
What?
The ignorant broker had no idea of its true value, you see. So I paid a mere 55 shillings for it. Yes, I have something to think about turn for shop. Sherlock Sholmes, bargain hunter.
But is it really a Stradivarius then?
But of course, my dear fellow. It said so on the label.
I think perhaps the ignorant broker had something of a turn for selling.
I have to agree with Ryunosuke on that one.
Yeah.
The examiner looks like a giant microscope there.
That's what I was thinking. That machine really is imposing, isn't it? But I can never remember its name. Hurley calls it the Great Analystoscope. It can analyze anything at all. That doesn't really help me. What does analyzing something even mean?
Ah, extremely astute question, Mr. Naruhodo.
Sorry?
Well, as I've said, my machine here spits out analysis results of anything with which you can't present it. But how you interpret those results, that's the key. I confess I have no idea.
Ha!
Clearly, I'm going to have to construct a great analytoscope to solve the problem.
Of course. That might not help.
Yeah, probably.
We've got the key there. There's quite a few things we can inspect here, but I don't know if it's gonna help us really. I think we can converse. Miss Susato's letter?
Yeah, might as well.
This is the letter that arrived from Japan this morning by international post. Oh, how lovely. Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it.
And how is your judicial assistant faring, may I ask?
She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case. Really? Oh, isn't she wonderful?
Cut above your good self, my dear fellow.
I've won cases too, you know. Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness.
No, I don't recall that name.
Of course you do. We helped that man. Twice! You know, in those 2 cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago?
Ah, the mustache twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and the mustache.
Didn't have 2 mustaches, Hurley.
Yes, who could forget those 2 cases? Made a very deep impression on me.
Yet you forgot the main culprit of the whole case.
Although I must confess, the details are a little hazy now.
Very deep impression they made on you. Clearly. Startling news.
So, what was this startling news penned by Miss Susato?
Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes?
Yes, it's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not
Double negatives. He's totally forgotten then. Anyway, in her letter, Miss Susato asked that we read over her case notes again and investigate further.
Though it took place half a year ago, purpose.
Because of something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with that case of the haunted lodgings.
Oh?
On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Miss Susato's father questioned him about the case, she says. And something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to send that telegram. That case? Yes! It was very strange, wasn't it? Yes. And I had compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication, too. But then Hurley was all funny about it, remember? I mean, he was very mean. That story must not be published, you said. Very mysterious as well.
Really? I said that? You sure?
Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Miss Susato was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan? We have a new dialogue choice. Miss Susato's repatriation? It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. Such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced she had to go back to Japan.
Indeed it was. Due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe.
That's right. Telling her to return urgently.
Yes, because her father had passed away.
No. It just said he was suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead. But according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse. A ruse? So Susie's daddy lied to her so that she'd make the voyage back home? Why would he do that? I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. but she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that. I wonder what Miss Susato's father is hiding. Hurley, do you know what it's all about?
Well, who can say?
What? But you said...
Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. Calendar is surprised. Quite surprisingly full today. Strict budget analysis will now be excessive, I feel. If I were quite at leisure. So, man afford my absence, won't you, Iris?
I will, Hurley. Don't worry. See you later. That's fine. He scuttled off rather quickly there. I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Sosuke-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes. Aha! I found them at last. Iris, are they... The notes about the case? That's right. Susie and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Runa? Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case. But perhaps if I read them over the notes again, something might come to light. That's the spirit. It's a glitter gun, if I remember correctly, from the first game. And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what happened to our investigation and that fierce battle in the court that followed. Reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue. And I have all the time in the world. Because, of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain. What?
Yeah, I'm fairly confident. And it was what happened at the end of the first game.
Hi, Skull. Welcome to Great Ace Attorney. Featuring Sergeant Hawk and I. Oh good, we are getting a recap of the end of the first game. It was 6 months ago, a mysterious incident that unfolded in the wintry streets of London. Ah yes, it's coming back to me, I remember this. A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement of Briar Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared but unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick and nobody saw her attacker, but by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Sosuke-san, and the man who effected his caress was Mr. Sholmes. Believing in her compatriot's innocence, Susato-san and I decided to represent Sosuke-san in court. And after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence. Joyous jubilation! Was the man's reaction after the trial, but his jubilant jubilation was short-lived. Yeah, that's right, because the first case was the stabbing, right?
Yeah.
Or was that the second case? Received the telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. The victim of the Briar Road stabbing regained consciousness. Hurry to Bart's at once. Susato-san and I summoned a hansom and headed immediately to the hospital.
There recovery ward.
So, she's just now recovering from the case. I believe the second case was the stabbing, is what if I remember correctly.
There you are at last.
Good morning, Mr. Sholmes.
I think not.
Oh? Susato!
Back! What on earth took you so long?
Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes. It's a 20-minute ride to the hospital. That's right, and it's 5:30. I think we made very good time.
Time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I have been waiting for what has felt like an eternity. Myself was woken at 4 this morning by a telegram boy. Feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had been roused at such an hour, I sent one to you.
How dare you? Well, thanks for that.
Anyway, we're here now, so the victim is over there. He's only just regained consciousness. You should introduce yourselves. I'm Joseph from here.
Sure thing, Sholmes. So that's the lady who was found on the snow-covered pavement with a knife in her bag. Her name is... Ah yes, here we are. Miss Green. What is this, Clue? Guess we have to examine her first before we can talk to her?
Most likely.
Good morning. Hello, I'm Rinosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. You want her or you want to give me her?
If I do it, it's not gonna sound right now.
Alright, fine. I'll pick it up. Oh no. Was it your knife that... Are you the man who... No. I'm a lawyer. I mean, you don't even have to voice act, Hawk. I literally just go with the first voice that comes to my mind.
Fair.
And I'm Susato Mikatoba. Pleased to meet you. Oh no. Was it your knife then? Are you the one? No. I assure you, I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. We heard that you regained consciousness, and I wanted to come to give you your best wishes. Or our best wishes. Best wishes? For me? Thank you? I'm Olive Green. I'm an artist. Well, no, that's not right, is it? I mean, I'm trying to be an artist. Well, what it really means, I desperately want to be an artist. There's the bottom of the barrel. Truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. No wonder I was stabbed in the back. I don't think that's related, actually. Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down. Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose. I say we start with herself.
Yep.
So, you're an artist, are you, Miss Green? Oh no. Oh, I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. I mean, I'm a student of art, really, at the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts. Oh my, an Academy of Fine Arts? Great Britain is such a wonderful country.
Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts?
Oh no, actually, I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road.
Very interesting.
Oh no, is it?
Brixton is some 10 shops away from the underground. Like a cat is a Brixton town center.
Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes? I believe that's salubrious? I don't know. Gotta love Old English, right?
Yeah, just a bit. Including the Maleficent Mr. Mustache.
Inferior means, I suppose Sosuke-san does fit the bill.
He is somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine arts student to be walking in such a district. That's all.
What's this? She suddenly clammed up. Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself, prying into a young maiden's private affairs. If you don't mind, I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things. Oh yes, of course. We won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green.
Probably should have started with a
Yeah, we should have gone from the top down. Oh well, I thought I was being polite. To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green. It was so cold that day, and the fog was so thick, I couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right? Wait. This is a flashback.
This is indeed a flashback.
This is a flashback to that case.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the day after the verdict, I believe. If I remember, the trial was only 3 days. Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time. That explains why Suzuto's back, as it is a flashback.
I kind of assumed that right up at the start, to be fair.
That's true. But the case has been solved, hasn't it? Well, I've been here in the hospital, I mean.
Indeed it has, my dear madame. Spectacularly by none other than I, Herlock Sholmes.
You know, if I was voicing Sherlock, this is how I would have said it. Indeed, it has, my dear madam. Spectacular, but none other than I, Herlock Sholmes! Put some bravioso into it, my dude. He's charismatic.
Indeed it has, my dear madame.
No, you're fine. Do we have a history button?
Yeah, we do. Hold on. Indeed it has, my dear madame. Spectacularly by none other than I, Herlock Sholmes!
Yeah, much better. Mr. Sholmes, as you well know, it was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work in the court that solved the case. Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green? Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly. Oh, I see. Me coming around seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry. I should never regain consciousness. It was selfish of me. Oh no! We're all so relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. Really, we are. That kind of attitude, maybe her surname should be Blue, not Green. Color puns.
I have to agree with you. I'm gonna stay there. By the way, I've got a rat on the right side of my screen.
Yeah, you do. It's right here.
This is not sanitary.
A mouse, Mr. Naruhodo. An enormous mouse. Vermin in a hospital? That doesn't seem the best. But it looks like a very healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump. I'm not sure you can say that's down to the excellence of this facility, if that's what you were thinking.
The only thing I could think of is that's Miss Green's pet. Nope, it's just a random rat. Nope.
I think it's a random rat, man. And look at her documents. And there's also another person's bed here as well. I'm gonna look at her documents. This looks like the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Do not feed. What is this place? A zoo? You know, I seem to remember seeing an almost identical sign in our local park. For the pigeons. Yes, this is a person. Poor woman. I hope she hasn't read this.
Alright, I'm curious enough. I'm looking at the other one.
Same. This looks like the treatment notes for whoever's occupying this bed. Let's see. Do not permit to run around the hospital.
Alright, that one's fair enough.
The patient doesn't seem to be here at the moment, so he or she's probably running around the hospital then. Oh dear, how worrying. What's worrying is why they haven't discharged the patient yet. Yeah,
I agree with that.
yeah, if he's able to get up, if they're able to get up and around, what? Yeah. You interact with that. You do have the medicine cabinet. Just looking else. There's also the statue can be interacted with, the picture. You can look at her bag too.
Yeah, it does have a rip on it that I've noticed.
I'm gonna look at her bag. It must be a bag of Miss Green's personal belongings. She would have been brought directly here after she was found stabbed on the pavement, though. I expect a friend or family member probably brought some things for her. Alright then, let's see what's inside. Change your clothes, no doubt, and... No, Mr. Naruhodo, you must never scrutinize a young maiden's personal belongings. The young maiden might have chocolates, or biscuits, or caramel.
He's not awake. I like his thinking, but he's not awake.
Yes, I agree.
I'm gonna examine the picture.
Okay. I'll join ya. Look, here's a photograph in this frame here. Oh yes, it's a picture of a young gentleman. He looks to be about the same age as Miss Green's, I would say. Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think? My, Mr. Naruhodo, I didn't know you had a sense for the matters of the heart. Not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. Go figure.
Oh.
Is there a Mr. Narrowfodder here? Mr. Narrowfodder? Narrowfodder now? Well, if you're looking for Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me. Ah, Mr. Narrowfodder, good. This is for you.
Uh-oh.
It's a message for a Mr. Saucy Nutmeg.
He's in prison again, isn't he?
Wait, Saucy Nutmeg? That's Sasuke Natsume. God, we're butchering our Japanese.
Yeah.
Mr. Natsume sent me a message? To me? Why would a policeman be delivering a message from Mr. Natsume? Exactly. What's going on? What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in the morning?
What are you waiting for? Let me see that.
Oh?
Well, this is most unexpected.
Really? A Scotsman Yard playing delivery boy? Of course it's unexpected!
He's probably talking about the content of the note.
Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes?
Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes, he says. Have you not seen this note?
No. How could I have?
It would seem that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls. A case of murder, no less. We must depart at once.
Murder?
Call a cab. Time is of the essence.
But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit in his lodgings once we did.
That will be entirely convenient.
Convenient? What do you mean?
It's all here in the note, my dear fellows. Murder we must investigate. Took place at Mr. Mustache's lodgings.
Wait, what? I'll hail a Fiacre at once. God, Old English is hard. It was only yesterday that Sosuke-san was in court and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. Now, the very next day, there's a murder at the man's own address. He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Okay. So this... Alright, I'm following the game correctly. The first case of Sosuke was the one in Game 1.
Yep.
This episode is the second case they are talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Making much more sense. Because, like, I was trying to figure out, I was like, we had 2 cases of Sasuke being the victim in the first game. Remember, I haven't played game 1 since 2021. Or, yeah, late 2021. Maybe I should pull up a synopsis of game 1.
If I'm remembering right. Hey, I can probably dumb it down onto about maybe a sentence each. We get accused of murder at a professor and our best friend and helps us defend ourselves. Case 2. Our best friend is found fucking dead in our cabin and would be hiding in the closet. Case 3. We're tested to make sure we can practice law on Britain. And involving the murder of a merchant. Case 3. So Seki is accused of a stack having. And then case 5.
Case 5. An attempt by Gina Lestrade to access Iris Wilson's manuscript of her book of The Hound of the Baskervilles. In a pawn shop goes awry, and the results of the shop's owner are dead. Okay, so the last case was the manuscript.
Yep.
Okay. So the first case of this is the Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro, which is the Sosuke case. We're living with Katwaga. He has been charged with stabbing a woman to death. He and Suzuto Mikotoba encounter Sherlock Holmes, who invites them to move in a child genius named Iris Wilson. The defendant is based on Japanese Natsume Sosuke. The reference is further reflected in the use of Japanese first-person pronoun wagahai in the title and the cat's name referencing I am a cat, one of Natsume's book. English title is not a direct translation of Japanese, but defense references Kokoro, another of Natsume's books. Okay. So yeah, there was only one Natsume case in the first game. Okay. Alright, now everything's making sense to me. May very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or it seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought. So is this the case where he lost his ability to practice law?
I don't think so. Like I said, the events of the last case in the previous game is most likely what caused it. Right?
Okay.
Part of that involved Suzuto changing something in the crime scene.
I'm right now looking at it. Accolades. I'm just gonna read the end real quick.
It was one of the machines that either Sholmes or Iris made that basically he creates a cat flap. Suzuto used it to make a window in the door, so that way they could see what's going on in the storeroom there.
Okay.
So for that,
one moment.
It was. Oh, all right.
Hi, Bray. How nice of you to drop in. Thank you for the raid. I remember that
detail specifically.
We're playing Great Ace Attorney. We're picking up from November 2021, so we're picking right up with the second game. For those of you who do not know, I am ManintehHat. I'm currently not wearing any hats as nobody's redeemed one. And here you can expect me to fight against the backlog of the growing games that I play. Yeah, Bray, it's been a while. We're trying to remember things. You can find more about Exclamation Point Games for all the games we have. Currently today, I have my buddy, Sergeant Hawk, my moderator and friend and torturer, apparently. You really had to do it, man. You really had to do it.
Absolutely.
So if you like just experiencing games, this is where you want to be, because we're going through anything and everything we have. Right now our plate looks like Grace Ace Attorney, Pokemon Luminescent Platinum with Moon, and we're picking up Pal World for a little bit, as that's a very fun game. Was waiting for you to say my mod, friend, and lover, not torturer. Thanks, Bray. I'm going to go ahead and unmute. Hawk, I'm going to grab a hat. You want to go ahead and introduce things while I grab a hat? You've got dates and such on screen.
Okay.
Alright.
February 21st, 7:18 a.m. Mr. Natsume's lodgings, ground floor.
He looks
He
familiar.
does.
What on earth? Oh my, the gentleman is deceased. Without question, he's dead. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Mr. Natsume. Oh, why? Why is this happening? Why to me? I've only just got out of court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery. And then I wake up the next day to this. No early bird should catch a worm like this. Woeful worm without wiggle.
I see you in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache.
Ah! Not the horrible Herlock Sholmes. Shoo, shove off. Show yourself to the Lord. I never invited you. Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume.
I am entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do for you? Hey, Gregson.
Do you want Greg?
Here they are all. Yeah, okay. Here they are all already. The busybodies. Ah, Inspector Gregson. What a pleasant surprise. Pleasant, is it? Give me heartburn every time I see your face at a crime scene, Schwartz. Ha! I deduced, Inspector. Your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food.
Good morning, Inspector.
This is a crime scene. Don't you go touching anything.
Or good morning to you too, Sunshine. Well, we got a lot of things to examine.
I'm trying to get it so that way I can keep an eye on chat.
You don't have to.
Still seeing.
You're a guest. You don't have to watch my chat.
Yeah, fair enough. But I'm also technically, as you pointed out, I'm also one of your moderators.
You're just moderator by proxy.
That's cool.
Hey, somebody has to be a moderator.
Not a lot here. Aside from the 3 people.
At the body, we got the fire alarm. The stands, Gregson, and we've also got the castle behind us as well.
Actually, can you go back to the stands real quick? There's something around, I think.
Oh yeah,
Either that
you're
or
right.
that's part of the it's either that or that's part of the costume. I don't know.
I think it's part of the costume. Let's start here.
Boy, I said hands off. You're gonna mess up my crime scene.
Oh, no, I just wanted to look, that's all.
No chance. I know you're kind. We'll mess it up just by looking at it.
Someone's in a bad mood.
There's certainly some bad air in here, isn't there?
Alright, sounds like I better talk to the inspector first and try to curry some favor. You heard him.
Yep.
So, Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he?
Mr. William
Shakespeare.
I almost said Shakespeare.
You can't say Shakespeare, that's copyright.
I know. Mr. William Shakespeare.
Well, this is sham.
Mr. William Shakespeare. He was a lodger here. As you can probably tell, back to a dead loss of happened. Or just dead.
Mr. Shakespeare.
The landlord, old Mr. Karadeb, and the other lodger, Mr. Natsume, who found him. The fella didn't rise at his usual hour. Karadeb got worried and kicked the door down.
Doesn't Mr. Garadeb have a bad leg?
Yeah, right there. With that jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking.
Really? Sosuke-san?
The victim was pretty hard up, it seems. Even done some time inside for petty crimes. Yeah, no money, no place to go, no friends. Only acquaintances were the people in this house. Miserable life, miserable ending.
So, what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing here? He's not involved in the investigation, so shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene?
Well, I'm not saying it's because the fellow looks odd or anything, but he acts suspicious. I thought it would be prudent to take a statement from the cohabiter.
Come on, man! We just proved his innocence! Give him some hope!
Yeah, give him some credit, man, come on!
You nearly said culprit there, didn't you? Oh dear, Mr. Natsume seems to be under suspicion again. Certainly seems that way. He does just come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he? Poor man. How unfortunate.
Anyway, can't say much until the coroner gets here.
Coroner?
But I don't think the fellow's been a goner that long. The body's still warm.
Even if the inspector would allow it, I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body. Well...
maybe talk to Sosuke?
we're gonna have to. I don't see anything else changing. What a terrible thing to have happened. It's only been 3 days since... It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident on the pavement outside. And then, finally, regaining my freedom starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences! So the victim lived here on the ground floor, and your room is just 1 story up, isn't it? Yes, that's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose. So, did you know the victim? Were you friends? The silence is deafening.
Yeah, very.
What's the matter with Sosuke-san now? It was an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it? Well, I suppose he wasn't a complete stranger. But did he ever invite me to his room? Never! And on my honor, I swear it! What an extreme reaction. Probably wishing you'd never asked now, aren't you now, Mr. Naruhodo? When we found him here, I felt wretched, which is the way I sent my word asking you to come. Through that inspector over there! It explains why he was being a...
Sholmes, what are you doing?
Oh, hi, Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes? What are you doing?
Ha! You need only observe to know it, my dear fellow. Investigating naturally.
Thanks for the lurk, Bray. I hope you enjoy if you come back. There's nothing natural about that pose. Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery?
Patience, my dear madame, patience. We've not been in here in this room 5 minutes.
Feels like
We've been
10.
here longer than that.
I can pull the tapes.
So far, all I've managed to deduce is what actually happened.
I beg to fucking differ. You
I
never.
have to agree.
You
never get it right the first try.
I usually have to clean up your shit. My goodness. But isn't everything we need to know, Mr. Schultz?
The idea, I could indeed see it that way. At the present time, I have victim fought for his life.
Mr. Natsume, what's wrong? Is something that Mr. Sholmes said significant somehow? No, don't mind me. Forget that I was here.
He's twitching too much.
I know.
The second conclusion is that there was a poison lingering in the air here last night that passed the victim's lips.
I don't think we're advanced enough to have airborne poisons yet, Sholmes. Nonsense! Alright, Mr. Natsume. Why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deductions? No. Please, pretend I'm not here. Invisible, ineffable, inscrutable, insignificant. Impossible to ignore. You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail.
Of course. The actual tragedy before us being by my great deductions. Presented for your ledger in 2 acts.
We've heard some truly astounding great deductions from Mr. Sholmes in the past. No doubt this will be no exception. What miracles will unfold before our eyes this time?
So, my dear fellows, for your delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Sholmes' logic and reasoning spectacular. Act 1.
The great deduction. The game is afoot. I love the deduction music. Cause of death.
Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpired in this compartment last night. The form of the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. Twitching Soseki. Next to the victim was a large diamond plate, which contained means you will observe. 1/2 inside the box. Meaningful? Indeed. Why is this so sensitive? Purposely without obligation. Victim's last settlement. Yes. That the man was about to eat it? Of course. The fork reveals the answer.
I don't think it's the fork.
It appears that the young man's appetite was his undoing. Taking a bomb in the form of his calorie, the victim engaged in a deadly battle for his life. His struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end he couldn't resist devouring his slippers. Foul souls was nourished by foul poison. His life was made by poison that tainted the contents of his plate.
Contents of the plate is soap.
The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive ingestion of foul soup. Though personally, I have a greater interest in the taste of the foul crab.
Damn it. Conclusion. Poisoning from soap ingestion. Topic 2. Suicide or murder?
The cause of death identified. Proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Is this suicide? Twitching Soseki if you're innocent. The audience will recall that death occurred during the victim's last supper. And dine beyond. A single teacup suggests the answer. Well, conclusion on such evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. A careful criminal could have himself to cover his tracks. Well, let me explain no doubt, my dear fellow. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock.
No, that's from this morning.
Now, at the time of the incident, this door was locked. In other words, when the victim consumed the poison, he must have been alone. Mysterious scent. Mysterious scent. met his end, in tragic solitude. We can take comfort only in the fact that his soul was well cleansed on its way to the hereafter.
Boo.
Hey, I'm just reading it out loud, okay?
No possible perpetrator present.
Thus concludes the final act of Warlock Show's great deduction. Alright, well, I think we can point out several things wrong with those deductions.
I agree. There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes.
You are disposed to identifying just one thing, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what concerns you?
Well, no matter how hungry he was, do you really think the man would have eaten soap?
It is quite apparent that this man had barely a penny to his name. It is a curious thing, but to one so destitute, so can suddenly appear irresistibly appetizing.
How extraordinary.
I'll be taking notes, Tato. In truth, I have tried a little soap myself in the past.
You've eaten it, you mean?
My dear fellow, it was some time ago now. The postulation was that it would cleanse my gut. No.
And did it?
I cried in agony on the floor and slipped the contents of my stomach. Yes, I believe it did. It's quite poisonous. It has an unpleasant taste and leads to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it.
Believe me, I wouldn't eat even if you did.
Fair enough.
There's something that troubles me as well, actually. Oh? What's that? It's Mr. Natsume. I couldn't help but noticing shuddering and quivering about the corner of my eye. Almost as Mr. Sholmes' seduction touched a nerve somehow. No, nonsense! Well,
Okay, you're just defeated at this point. You
that
have
clenched
no
teeth episode didn't last. I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, Great Detective Deductions may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth. Yes, Mr. Sholmes' observations and deductions are sometimes a little too sharp.
Yeah.
Oh, that was you. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it in and out, as you say. When he does that, it falls on us to straighten things out. Alright then, let's see what we can do. Yes, we must pick out the key words in Mr. Sholmes' quite brilliant deductions, and discreetly exchange them for something that makes a little more sense. If we can do that, I'm sure we'll arrive at Mr. Sholmes meant to say in the first place.
In that case, are you ready for the second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, for your continued delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Holmes, Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1.
Force correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes.
How'd you go Scotch?
I don't know.
Careful observation,
Yeah, this is all reiterated.
That transpired in this console.
Foam in the mouth.
You're just gonna skip.
Yeah, because it just reiterates everything. I am gonna stop at like Natsume's interactions and highlight the orange words because those are the key words here. So he's reacting to poison. So the victim is 1.5 full-size bar of soap, meaningful and due to it's Last Supper, I guess. 4. I don't. Yeah, it's not the 4th because Natsume is not really reacting. I'm eating something or about to eat something. It's true. If I were to decide to eat some soap, I should prefer to use a fork than attempt it with chopsticks. And of course, only half the bar of soap is left on the plate. But there might be some other explanation? Something material that proves whether the man really ate some soap. Huh?
No, keep going, keep going.
Okay. Did he really eat some soap? So we've got teacup.
There is another piece of soap on the floor.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
Although, actually, wait a minute. That does technically look like it's got a milk mark out of it.
No, it's the other half of the break. I'm still gonna pick it just because we had to change the camera angle for it, and I don't see anything else that's different because that's him. Yeah, it's gotta be the other bar, so.
Take that!
Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the other piece of soap reveals the answer. It being the other half of the soap on the table. In short, the victim was not eating soap at all.
That was Schultz's one on that one.
That's fine, I didn't read it.
But it's obvious. That's the one where you drive any kind of intent. Now I have a question for those for practical knowledge. Only a single bite.
But that begs the question of how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of any food on the table.
Excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo. One that furnishes us with the answer we seek. Yep,
Yeah, this is, yeah, we're back on course. Victim's life was claimed.
Right back into it.
Contents of the plate. Yeah, I did not agree with this point either. And he's still pushing the soap argument. Perhaps he's suggesting the man lick the soap rather than eat it? If soap in London is that poisonous, I don't think I'd want to be washing my hands with it. There are no signs of any food in this room at all. Of course, the food isn't the only thing passes people's lips, is it? Poison could have been laced in the cup. Is that the only other thing we can pick? Yeah, that's
well, we can technically pick the fork if we really wanted, but I don't think that's
I think it's the cup. Is the way that
I'm with you.
Susato like Andrew says, he's like, it's not the other way to ingest poison.
Take that!
Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the teacup.
Indeed, cups have been the vessel of choice for practicing hazing poisoners over the centuries. And it would appear that this victim drank every last drop.
No sign of food anywhere in this room.
Which leads us to the immutable conclusion. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to the ingestion of poison contained in this teacup.
Poison in the tea. Solved. Alright, suicide or murder time. Ponder, was this suicide or murder? Yeah, Last Supper. You dine alone with a single seat. The Western vessel for infused hot drinks again. It's already featured heavily on in our deductions so far. Yes, we can imagine that shortly before his death, Mr. Shamspeare was having a drink of tea. There would be nothing remarkable about that. But what troubles me is Mr. Natsume's reacting when he heard Mr. Shum suggest it. More to this deduction than it seems. Let's closely examine the scene of the crime again for more clues. How about the other teacup?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That's what I thought.
Take that!
Did the man die and die alone? This other teacup suggests the answer. Yes, there were 2 teacups in this room all along. Ah. In other words, this was a strong indicator of the victim's Last Supper. There was a guest present.
At the very least, you can say now with certainty. Somebody else was here in this room last night, taking tea with the victim.
Oh, what are you talking about? What are they? Unbelievable, unjustly, unreasonable.
Evidence will be foolish, however, certainly.
In which case, what more can we deduce about this possible guest at the table?
Well, it's with the veil of doubt, dear fellow.
You mean to say you know who exactly was in this room at the time of the victim's death? Indeed, we're back.
Here's the answer, of course. It's the broken lock.
Yeah, we're back on the lock here. Not sure I like where the seduction is going now. I'm afraid it's too late to go back on the halcyon days of eating too much soap. But the identity of the guest who was in last night when the victim passed away is something I have a very bad feeling about. You can try to ignore your feelings, but you cannot ignore the truth, Mr. Naruto. No, I suppose not. Time to look around again. Empty bottle, pile of books. I think it has to do with the empty bottle, right? Like, I don't see any kind of clue.
Yeah, no, not the bottle.
I'm gonna read the bottle real quick. It's empty. Empty liquid, full of air. I think, doesn't it? Makes me think that you're full of hot air. We should be thinking about who else was in this room at the time. Well then, Suzu's quip in response was cleverer than my original riddle.
Oh, yeah, okay. It's the books.
I want to read the books then. First glance, it seems the only thing in this room are the makeshift stage and the costumes. Overlook these 3 books instead. Wonder what they are. Let's see. Titles read Picture of Monsieur Lecoq, Canterbury Yearnings, and Emile for Gabriel. Wait, I'm sure I've heard these titles. It should be incredible coincidence, but they're the exact same books that Mr. Natsume purchased the other day. What? Yes, on the tie of the unfortunate incident when Miss Green was stabbed. Sasuke-san has just been to the bookstore and bought them, that's right. Now those 3 titles are here in the room of the victim. Yet Mr. Natsume never claimed to be here. What's mean do you think? I really don't know what to make of it. Pile of familiar books. Changed. I forgot, by reading them you can change what they are.
Take that!
It's all coming back to me now. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the pile of familiar books.
Quite so. These 3 titles are here in this room. The link to the truth.
Mr. Natsume, you purchased these books 4 days ago at a second-hand bookshop. This is a coincidence.
In that case, we will look at the same 3 titles from Chronicles. This very moment.
No, never. Not negotiable. You can't bring your own copies here. That proves that these 3 books are in fact yours. Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodgings, you were arrested the very next day. So you could have conceivably brought the books here on that evening, but you never mentioned that.
In other words, you could only have one of these 3 books here to the victim's room. Last night, having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey. In short, there's only one possible conclusion.
And down here results of poisoning. And that same night, the victim had a visitor.
And that visitor.
I don't like my look. Was you, Mr. Sosuke Natsume?
Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholm's great deduction.
Sosuke Natsume at the scene. Solved. That's not good.
That's not good at all.
Elementary. Not again! Not again! Not again! Not again!
No, your mic peaked on that one.
I know.
Well then, Mr. Natsume. It would appear you're gonna have to accompany me down to the yard. Again.
But wait.
I want that roll of crisps.
Why? Because it never
It
ends.
never ends. It never ends. It's a regenerating sponge.
Hold your horses! Gregson, thank you. Door, key, locked, entry, exit, entirely impossible. So flustered, he's being even stranger than normal.
What? You think that's an alibi? Could have just made a copy.
What?
Live in the same building after all. You'd have had plenty of opportunity, sure.
But, misery me!
Sorry, sir. No chance to give your dad the story later. Max needs to himself with his mustache.
You horrible Herlock Sholmes! Really has found himself an arch rival now, hasn't he?
Come on now, no dilly-dallying. Outside, there's a carriage waiting.
Welcome, student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! I never imagined I'd be in this position again, but... You have to help me! Please! Please! I'm innocent! Alright, I understand. Come to your cell later and talk about it. And one more thing. Yes? My poor little kitty cat. Please give him his breakfast for me. And so, his evil curse still apparently unbroken. Yosuke-san found himself once again prime suspect in a case of murder.
Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the detective.
That's you.
Pick up that time to eat.
Yes, you did.
My dear fellow, that honor belongs to you.
You should always assume you have to talk if your character's on screen.
Fair enough.
Well, at least that means Inspector Gregson is no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now. That's right. And of course... What? You've forgotten what Inspector mentioned before? It was the landlord, Mr. Garadeb, who discovered Mr. Chamspear. Ah, Mr. John Garadeb, yes. I expect we could find him in his sitting room on top floor as usual. Right. Must remember to go talk to him later then. Time to examine. I say we go after that what we wanted originally. What's this? Looks like part of an envelope, I think. Yes, I think you may be right. Perhaps it was torn off when the letter was opened. Is that significant? Well, it's a little out of place, perhaps, when you look around the room. There's no sign of a letter, while the rest of the envelope, in fact, is there. Huh, she's right. And yet, here we have the torn off end of an envelope. It strikes me as unusual. Better take this just in case. Torn off end was entered into the court record.
Everything above that, it's like it's all missing.
We can investigate by spinning it. Whoever opened this envelope didn't bother with a letter opener or scissors, did they? Yes, whoever opened it was clearly someone with an unrefined temperament. Judging for the ankle of the rip here, the person in question must have been right-handed. Suzuto. I think perhaps someone's been reading too much of the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. You never read too much of it, Mr. Naruhodo. Never.
That's about as much we can get out of that, unfortunately.
Here's the receipts and the map. remember correctly, the X is where the murder happened. And
Wait,
yeah.
that's still on the record?
yes. Yeah, it was submitted as evidence in the trial the other day. Yeah, let's go look at the crown and these extravagant bright costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room. There's grim shady going on. This one looks like a king's attire. King? I've always dreamt of being a king. Well, I think you'd be more suited to be a feudal lord, a daimyo, or such like. Crown mage top knot? Every Japanese man wishes they had a Sean mage. You'd look wonderful with one, and you already have the sword. Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around the streets of London with a crown mage and a sword? You said you looked at the bookcase with the hats on top of it?
Okay, no, that is actually a separate thing.
Okay.
That is entirely a separate thing.
Not much on these shelves, is there? It's just a wine glass and a bottle. Both of them are cracked. Yes, not much use are there. What's the matter?
Yeah.
Oh, I was just reminded of the reprints.
What?
Ah, yes.
We run into him. Who's doing? You said you were prosecutor. Do you want to come and voice him?
I mean, I'm okay with voicing the Lord Von Zeeks. I can break out my German, hopefully, and not get us TOS.
Yeah, maybe not.
We'll
Maybe
see.
Not German. But...
We'll cross this bridge when we get there. Yes, he's so reckless with his wine glasses. I was thinking it's a waste that he should donate some to the needy. And you can suggest it next time we meet.
Okay. Another detail I'm already noticing:
Hmm?
the bricks in the window.
Yeah.
Well, like three of them in particular look like they've been moved.
Take a look at it, sure. Seen from the outside, the window is completely bricked up. Vestige of the former window tax the Britons had to pay. What strange things they used to tax in Great Britain. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in a property? It's extraordinary. It's heartbreaking to think the poor having to block up their windows just to avoid an unaffordable tax. Oh. What is it, Miss Suzuto? If you look closely, a number of the bricks are loose. Good deduction there, Hawk. Oh yes, it looks like an amateur has broken on a few just here. Is it Mr. Shamspear who did it, I wonder? Being the lodger renting this room. And look, Naruhodo. On the outside, there's a little ledge. There's something on it. Outside?
Don't keep us in suspense.
Looks like soap. It's so cold outside. You can feel it through this gap. It did snow last night. It would be cold. More importantly, it's on the ledge out there. Are those snow-covered lumps? It's more bars of soap. Soap? What are bars of soap lined up on a ledge outside the window? I have no idea, but the pair of them look rather charming like that. Still, that's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined up outside the window? I think perhaps we should take one. There are two after all. Oh dear. I suppose we could. What's this? Here at this soap. You see in the middle there, there's a patch that's a different color. So it's like sort of transparent, but sort of fancy design, I suppose. Only in Great Britain. Like the Hinomaru flag of Japan, doesn't it? How wonderful. Probably an expensive, very expensive brand. Expensive? What's it doing in this ramshackle old room? I say we examine it, yeah.
Yeah, examining it basically brings up about the same conversation as after noticing
Or a different color. Yeah. It needs to be the dragon. It doesn't seem like you can get to who it belongs to. Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to look at the red box. Here we have another disproportionately large machine. Looks like a meter of some kind.
Oh no, that might be a gas meter actually.
This is gas meter, I think. Seems that in this district, residents pay for the gas as they use it with coins. Ah, now you've pointed it out. You can see there's a slot just here that looks just to take a coin. You mean, if you put a coin in here... That's right, you would buy about 2 hours of gas for lighting and heating. So if you were a poor person with no money, you'd have to sleep in the freezing cold. Yes, or if you were a scatterbrain with no change because you forgot to change your money at the bank. Goodness, there's no meter in our office. Yep.
Wait a minute. Someone... This is probably going to be a detail for later, but I feel like Gregson did mention that the body was still warm.
Yes.
Someone may have manipulated that to provide gas to
I don't know.
keep the body warm.
I think, well, the body itself is naturally warm due to our blood.
A dead body does get cold, though.
Yes. We know when the death was?
Not yet? At least... It doesn't mention cause of death.
Yeah, we have to get the
Coroner
coroner
is
report.
Yeah, coroner's gonna have to take a look at that.
And gas wall light must be connected to gas pipe in the wall. Gas light's a gas stove. London really is a city of gas. Now that I think about it, Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb had an open fire on the top floor, didn't they? Oh yes, you're right. I don't recall seeing a gas stove up there. I much prefer a real fire anyway, it's so much cozier. Should we bother looking at the stage?
Can't hurt.
This is some sort of makeshift stage, I think it is, isn't it? Where does the audience sit, though, for nightly Shakespeare performances?
I cannot be faulted for saying Shakespeare now that they've said it.
Yeah, I know. Actors aspiring to the great stage must practice their art, Mr. Naruhodo, with or without an audience. In fact, on a related note, perhaps you should set up a mock bench for the defense in your office. What?
Huh?
Then you could practice your art every single day. I'll think about it. If you promise to don a beard and play the role of the judge. Well, if that would help you achieve your goal. This I have to see. Alright, that was worth the interact.
Worth entirely. I don't think, beyond examining the body, I don't think there's anything else.
Might as well. Oh, the poor man, so young to die. Do you suppose it was a very painful death being poisoned as he was? I don't know. All we can do now is hope that he'll be reborn to a better life. Yes, I suppose you're right. I wonder. Do you think that putting our hands together in a Japanese prayer will help a British soul? Sorry? I made sure that I had a reference at the ready for such an occasion as this, actually. This book is entitled The Beginner's Guide to Praying for the Departed, the British Way. She has a book for everything. I'll just reread it now. One moment. There's quite a spine on that book, isn't there? Don't
Oh, we
think...
can look at the teacup again.
Can?
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's different. Ah, one of those teacups Mr. Shakespeare and his guest drank from last night. Don't go drinking from them, or how bitter poison inside. Not planning on drinking any, don't worry. Anyway, cups are both empty. That's true. So, one was Mr. Shakespeare's, the other must be the cup that Mr. Natsume was drinking from. Sosuke-san wasn't poisoned, of course. Perhaps we should take these so we can examine them in more detail later. So we got both the teacups. Okay. So glad we looked at the cup then.
Looks like you're having a good snoop around, eh?
How'd you know? Inspector
Pretty good
Gregson!
test.
Back so soon?
After I threw that little Japanese fellow to clink, I wanted to report on this investigation. 5 minutes time, this place was cordoned off by the yard.
Oh, I see. Well, we better be leaving then. Poor Mr. Natsume is becoming very low back in his cells again so soon. I'm sure. We should probably go... And... You saw that, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, as long as I'm not going crazy. What's wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
He's setting up right. He dropped the fork.
Out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. Now, how soundeth the next part?
You were playing fucking dead? It is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Indeed! Oh, happy day!
Okay, now he's probably dead.
Walking Dead! Where's my Discord?
The fella isn't dead at all?
What was that nonsense he was saying, though? I think, yes, it was from William Shakespeare's Macbeth. Soliloquy from Act 5, Scene 5. Shakespeare. So it was that the victim, Mr. William Shakespeare, came back to life. If the man indeed had been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. It was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment. And Inspector Grayson evicted us from the scene of the crime, whatever that now was.
Now I'm concerned. February 21st, Briar Road.
Whatever do you think will happen now? Good question. What a strange situation for Mr. Natsume, arrested for murder, but then the victim comes back to life. I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. It seems very likely that Mr. Shakespeare did consume poison, as we deduced. But it was an accident, attempted suicide, or attempted murder. Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody. I suppose so. Let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cells. Oh, what's this? What's this man doing over there? Looks like he's trying to see into Sosuke-san's lodgings. Something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo. Excuse me, could we have a word? That face.
Ah!
He just ran off. He buggered off. I feel sure that I've seen that man somewhere before. Where was it? I do too, but I don't remember. Let me examine. Obviously where he was looking, which I think we should definitely look at. The snowman. And that's it.
Yeah.
Start with the obvious?
Start with the obvious.
With the exception of the top floor where Mr. and Mrs. Garrett live, all the windows are bricked up. Yes, that's because of an old window tax that was charged on the number of windows a property had. In order to pay less tax, the poorer members of society filled in many of their windows. But the tax has since been abolished, hasn't it? So the windows could all be opened up again, surely. Fortunately, it would appear that the residents of this district can't afford to pay to have the work done. Yes, that's a sad state of affairs.
Honestly, for the wintertime, that makes a little bit more sense to keep them bricked up anyway.
Yeah, help keep heat in. Especially for the poor people like Mr. Natsume who have lived all cooped up in the windowless room. I suppose that's the price you pay for living in very cheap accommodation. It all seems rather pointless when you put it like that.
Now we can examine the bike.
I think it's worth it because it's kind of out of shape. But I thought it was like that in the previous case. There always seems to be a bicycle, said the Garrett residents. I read that bicycles are extremely popular all over Great Britain at the moment. In fact, that one seems very warped, though, especially the front wheel. Is it to make it more of a challenge to ride, do you think? No, I'm afraid that may be a result of the rider's incompetence. The front wheel would be so badly warped, I'm afraid the rider may be similarly afflicted. And there's a good chance Mr. Natsume has been practicing on this bicycle, I think. Oh dear, I fear you may be right. We want to look at the snowman?
Apparently we can also look down.
Probably just talking about into town. I think we just move along. So we have Garrideb's room and the prison. Do we want to go visit Mr. Garrideb first, or do we want to go visit Natsume?
Let's go visit Garrideb first. Natsume might still be questioning.
That's what I was thinking. Ah, yes, this room.
Ah, yes, the cat.
And then with an apron. I love it.
February 21st, the Garrideb's room.
Here we are again. The eccentric landlord's eccentric top floor abode. We're here because Mr. Garrideb's the one who discovered the incident this morning. Don't forget. I love his face.
Ah, you chaps say.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Thank you for your cooperation in court today.
It was quite a trial. As much for Mr. Garrideb as anyone, really.
Came straight back here after all that business at the Bailey yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up to more valley nonsense this morning. I don't know why I decided to put an Australian accent.
Go for it, then. I mean, technically the Brits did send people to Australia.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. At least I believe it's true.
I wonder if you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Garrideb.
Yes. So would you like to know all about that Ted Wilson active chap in the room?
Those were exactly Inspector Gregson's words, weren't they?
Alright.
Shall we converse?
This morning's incident.
Well, as we learn, we should probably go from top to bottom.
Yep. You figured that out the hard way.
Yep. Must have been a real shock for you this morning. I hear that you discovered what had happened.
Well, that hopeless active chap rises at 5 o'clock sharp every morning without fail. But at 5:30 this morning, I still hadn't hit the gas. So I went down and knocked on his door. Finally answered.
That's when you broke into his room by kicking down the door?
Yeah, called on that one-looking Japanese chap to take the front, of course.
Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? The man could have just overslept by half an hour. That's very true, Mr. Naruhodo. 30 minutes oversleeping warrant such behavior. I'd have to kick down your door down every morning.
Better to be safe than sorry. You know that.
Is it just me, or is he avoiding our gaze now all of a sudden?
Well, fuck, he knows something else.
Except that it was a sorry situation indeed that you found on the far side of the door. Mr. Shamspear. Victim's name is Mr. Shamspear, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, Lane Shamspear. Took him around for a room 3 months ago now.
And how would you describe him?
In a word, destitute.
Destitute?
Let's face it, the redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rate. Anyone wanting to live in a place like that is either broke or has a badly screw loose.
So hard to choose which category Sasuke-san would fall into.
I'm assuming they're using Valley instead of Bloody.
Yeah.
Like, because it's a curse word at that point.
Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude.
He's doing research as well.
Research? Into what?
Shakespeare, of course. Shakespeare. Had a few plays of the old part myself, you know? Romeo and Hamlet, in a way.
Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. He's known as Sao in Japanese, as you know, and many of his works have already been translated. It seems incredible that Shakespeare was shortened to Sao, though. Someone is too heavy-handed there. There were a lot of costumes in the victim's room, actually, weren't there? Of course, Mr. Natsume is a scholar of English literature as well. I imagine he and Mr. Shakespeare would have had much in common. Shakespeare interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder. Let's hope it's not that.
Why is Susato reacting to inner thoughts here?
Mr. Naruto, really? How rude.
She's a mind reader or something? What's going on?
They've been together for like almost a year now. Of course she's picked up on his thoughts.
Actually, wasn't the first trial only like 3 months into their stay in London?
Yes.
So at this point, it's technically only been about
3 months. Yeah. So, and the travel was a month, I believe. So it's been at least 4 months together.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Like, I think a third of a year. Yeah. That makes sense.
After Mr. Natsume's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between then and this morning?
Must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. The snow was coming down rather heavily as I remember. It was completely dark already. The failed acting shadow was out at the time.
Mr. Gardev noticed there was no light from his room or something, I suppose.
But some of the energy ran too much. I just sat in front of the fire up here. It was after 8 before Shakespeare got back. The chap was up until past 1 in the morning, you know? Those medicine hit sometime after that. I sleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark now.
Oh, thank you. That was very illuminating.
We may have a time frame.
Yeah.
Between like 1 and
5:30.
1 and 5:30, although...
We said... Hang on, history. It was before, after 8. So right now our window's from 8 to 5:30. That's still a big window.
That is a relatively big window, but here's the other thing, though. Up past 1 in the morning.
Yeah, so we know he was alive till then, so we're kind of at the point of...
Although, here's my question. How is Haradev knowing that part, at least?
Heat rises. He'd probably notice it was warmer.
Probably, yeah.
Is everything alright, Miss Susato? Well, I was just thinking, it's a little strange, that's all. Mr. Gardev, you were up here in your room all evening, if I've understood correctly.
Not a big fan of stairs. I want this blasted leg.
Then, how is it you seem to know? The precise movements of your tenant on the ground floor, I mean.
Oh, thank God, Susato also noticed!
Thank you. That's a very good point. I can't imagine that you could hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. Does this old man like to spy on his tenants? Is that it?
Hey, I know what you're thinking, and it's a bally outrage. I'm ex-military, don't you know? I don't go around spying on my tenants. Why would I?
Then how did you know, Mr. Gardev?
It's the gas, woman. The gas tells me everything.
I was right.
Yeah, okay.
The gas? Speaking gas. What on earth do you mean, sir? How can the gas tell you anything, let alone everything?
I'm trying to imitate to kind of get into character a little bit.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Well, as you're probably aware, gas is supplied to the building by pipes.
Yes, I more or less worked that out. Every room in the building is connected by a single pipe to the gas main outside. And the gas companies supply gas to the properties via the main. Yes, I understand that too.
Let me see if I can explain. Let's say I was to light the gas lamps up here. What do you suppose would happen?
Well, obviously the room would get brighter.
Exactly. At the same time, lights in all the other rooms in the house would dim for a moment.
What? They dim? Why? Perhaps it's because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual. And that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for other lamps to be connected to it. That might explain why the other lamps dim momentarily, mightn't it? Yes, of course, because everything's connected to a single supply pipe. Is that supposed to happen, though? Sounds rather undesirable.
Really good point. The fact is, the gas company's pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless. Long warning. Barely got any gas in them to start with. Opposite's also true, of course. Take the lamps up here and they glow brighter than the rest of the house.
Huh, right, I see. By watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you could determine what's happening elsewhere.
Got it.
Oh, of course, because when people come back in the evening before they go to sleep at night, they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out their lamps and fires.
Point of fact, the ground floor and the one above it have slightly different amounts of gas. Watching the lights and people go to sleep, that's exactly what's going on in the whole house.
Gosh, that's fascinating, Mr. Garrett. Absolutely fascinating.
Well, nothing to it, really.
And I can't really see what that's going to help us with the case either. But I'd like to know why Mr. Garrett is so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place. I feel like there's more to it than that idle curiosity. Well, we've done as much as investigating as we can, I think. Perhaps we ought to go to the prison and speak with Mr. Natsume again. Good idea.
Honestly, this conversation just kind of confirmed for me
Yeah?
that someone has most likely manipulated the gas.
Yeah. The prison.
To the prison.
There he is.
This one's all you unless Schultz shows up.
Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna grab a cup of water, because I have a strong feeling it's gonna be a rattling. Entertain them for 2 minutes.
Oh, right, I have to introduce. February 21st, local prison, cell 9. I'm locked into the Australian accent. Oh no. This is never good. Ah, thank God I'm out of it, actually. I'll chat. You're currently my prisoners. Just kidding. Just kidding. He's literally here. He's like not even 2 minutes away.
Yeah.
I'm gonna force a hydrate. Yeah, and I'm gonna force a hydrate just because.
Fuck off. I literally just drank half of it.
Hydrate, bitch.
At least you care. I'm gonna refill it. Go ahead and entertain it more.
All right. Aside from Sosuke, hey, he looking like he wants to bang his head against the wall, there's nothing interesting in that cell. Except for maybe the candle. Okay, stop staring at the candle. Wait, no, shiny. Hey, no, it's bright. It's the equivalent of lamp. I don't know.
Well, we are set on hydrating for the rest of the night. We got 2 full cups.
Good. Good. I still have like half bottle of Gold Peak sweet tea with me, so.
I'm out of my Arnold Palmer's, but I've got like 9 bottles of Pure Leaf left. Look, Mr. Naruhodo? Mr. Natsume, have the police finished questioning you now? Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire! Oh, yes? What is he? Tell me! Is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me? Let me guess. You're talking about Mr. Sholmes? He actually calls himself a great detective, Mr. Natsume, not a ghost. But his diabolic deductions, they're not of this world. They've left me. Ah, cursed! I'm cursed, I tell you. Well,
He done on that.
yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, what's my gain? I mean, my gain is down more than it usually is. I've also got it kind of toned down a bit at OBS level as well. Sort of hurts. Credit where credit's due, Mr. Naruhodo. You were heavily involved in the abduction too. Yes. Moving on. We have some wonderful news. Huh? The victim that we all thought was dead has come back to life again. Now, in the absolutely worst case, you could only be tried for attempted murder. That's great, isn't it, Mr. Natsume? It's terrible!
I couldn't help but join you on that one.
I'm stuck in the cell, suffering for some silly wrong end of the stick! You did it, didn't you? Confess, you're a killer. Why the mustache? Constant questions! I'm sorry to hear that. That selfish shyster. Make up your mind. Are you dead or alive? If you were going to come back to life, why bother dying? Wickedly wishy-washy William! Well, it seems that Mr. Shamsphere was never actually dead in the first place. Yes, that makes sense, and I'm pleased he's alive, of course. It's been going alright, Skull. We're making progress. I mean, the victim's not dead. That's progress.
Yeah, that's a start.
It is a start. At least we can only get attempted murder.
Yes.
Yes, that makes sense, and I'm pleased with it. Our lively debate last night was much fun. I'd be sad to think it was our last.
He's admitting to it.
Yeah, he has connections to him. Mr. Natsume, does this mean you did see the victim last night? You met with Mr. Shamsphere, didn't you? I'm not saying another word. I demand to have a lawyer present. Who do you think I am?
I am a lawyer, dumbass.
Please, Mr. Natsume, we need to hear your side of the story. Why am I cursed like this?
Alright. We can't examine anything, so best course of action. Just start talking to him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We never did check the teacups, did we?
You're right. I was just thinking about presenting them.
Oh, okay, the purple one looks like it still has some tea stains inside of it.
This must be the cup that Mr. Shamsphere was drinking from then. It's stained on the inside. He does that, I'm afraid. Even green tea. Oh, really? I've never noticed before. Never noticed? Well, I never leave it in the cup long enough to leave a mark. I like to gulp it down. Drink tea while it's hot. This is the Japanese way, isn't it? Oh dear. So many people seem to have the wrong idea about our culture. Most of them are Japanese.
Very obvious marks from where.
This is the teacup from which Mr. Natsume was drinking. Yes, unlike the other one, the inside of this cup was completely clean. Suppose he must have drank the contents before he had a chance to leave a mark. I always gulp it down too. Sorry, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, if you just sip it little by little, it goes cold. Clearly, I shall have to instruct you in the proper way to take tea. Hey, we got an updated record. No reason to have done that. Shall we converse? Or do we want to present the teacups to him?
I already started conversing with him when the first happened.
Alright, what happened? Can you tell us exactly what happened last night then, Mr. Natsume? There's nothing to tell, but, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, I'm eternally grateful to you for helping me with that accursed case yesterday. Case of poor Miss Green hospitalized after she ended up with a knife in her back. It's hard to believe that it was only yesterday. After After the trial was over, I trudged my way back to my lowly lodgings. And that evening, at past 9, must have been I visited Mr. Shakespeare. So you did go to the victim's room then. As we feared, I didn't do anything wrong. I've never been to his room before. It was the first time.
I'd like to call bullshit on that, but I don't think we have enough evidence of that.
Yeah. Then what made you decide to go? Bumped into him when I had arrived back at the house. We got chatting and developed into a discussion. He had to go out, and I bade him farewell. That ties him in with what Mr. Garrett said. The victim went out and came back after 8. We met again later that evening at around 9, just after when I took some nice tea I brewed as a gift. So you who brought the
Can
tea?
you pump the brakes for just a second?
Yeah?
Something in what he said earlier is...
What are we looking at by going back?
Okay. Never mind. I'm probably overthinking it.
Okay.
But I'm thinking back to the point where he said, after the trial's over, I trudged my way back to that level tight lodgings. And that evening at past 9, it must have been at Mr. Shakespeare.
Yeah, well, we have established that Mr. Shamsier came back about 8 or so. So that fits.
That did fit. Just something about it did not click right away. With Sosuke bumping into him when he got back.
Yeah, because he said he got back.
He didn't specify when he got back. So.
After trial was over, I went right back.
What is Cadbury said he must have left at like 6 o'clock and was back around 8.
Yeah. Alright. So it was you who brought the tea that clearly had been drunk at the scene then. And I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, weren't you? Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. Romeo and Juliet, and who was stronger? It was a delightful debate. I'm sure. Such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare! And the debate became very heated, so you slipped some poison into Mr. Shakespeare's tea? No, never, not at all. Team Juliet won. That was me. And when I left his room, the flamboyant fellow was fighting fit. I swear it categorically. Cursed existence. Mr. Natsume, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. You have a cursed existence. I'm sure I've mentioned this to you before, but I've been here in Great Britain a year now, and in that time I've learned that there's no place for me. It'd be very trying to live in a foreign land and adapt to the ways of another culture. There are foreigners everywhere I look, and they all stare at me. They all laugh. It's the impression I get wherever I go about. It makes me scared to leave my room. That's why I've become a recluse. But even in my room, I find no respite from my fears. I've moved up more times than I can remember, and then 1 week ago, I moved to the Briar Road. Why? I mean, why did you choose that place? It doesn't seem very comfortable. Because the rent is cheap, I have so little money, it spoke to me. Rent? Obviously, there's a reason why it's cheap. Because the room is cursed. Cursed? Cursed how? Previous
I think I may
occupant.
have nailed down why Mr. Garrett is keeping an eye on his tenants. He doesn't want another dead person in his building.
Yeah, the previous occupant, the man who lived before I took the room, died there. Oh no! He was only a young man. One morning, he was found dead. No one could explain why. Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history like that. And I didn't, but letting agent let him in to be the place, I wavered. But I want books! Books cost money, and a horrible history is a small price to pay. When I realized it would mean I could buy more books, I signed the lease like lightning. Brave or blinkered? But after I moved in, I soon came to realize what I'd done. Realized how horrible that room's history really was. Gosh, these really so awful? Horrible history. How did the room's horrible history affect you, Mr. Natsume? What really happened? At first, it was just a feeling. The feeling of beady eyes boring into my back, watching me. Do you think that might have just been your mind playing tricks on you? No. My mind doesn't know any tricks. It's someone else. It's been one long nightmare ever since I was given the keys to the place. Nightmare? You've been having bad dreams, you mean? Oh, the souls who died in that room. I lean over me in my sleep and try to strangle me. Really is horrible. And now I come to think of it, happened again last night, too. The very same night Mr. Shamspear was writhing in agony from the poison in his body. He was on the very verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room. You must have moved out of that room as soon as possible. Yes, you're right, I know it. That's why I'm already searching for the next room with a history to call home. I think perhaps you should try to avoid accommodation with any kind of history at all. She's not a good point. Otherwise, I'm scared that you'll have yourself may become history. Ooh, still son knows how to make the man listen. Of course. Mr. Lord of the Manor is worried about the curse of my room as well. You mean Mr. Garrideb? Yes, he knows that if people keep dying here, he'll never be able to rent it out again. Well, that's true. I, for one, wouldn't go near the place. Perhaps. It may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas lamps in his tenants' movements.
Yeah, that's what I would.
I mean, because he's worried about their well-being? That's a good landlord. He does seem to have an unusually keen interest in the amounts of gas in the pipes. There must be a reason why he keeps such close tabs on the occupants of his let rooms. What do you mean he pays so much attention to the gas lamps? Oh dear, no, it's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please, forget that I said anything. Oh, now you're talking about me behind my back as well. What's important is that Mr. Shamspear isn't in fact dead at all. Once he comes around, he'll be able to tell us what happened. And he'll be able to get you released. Yes, please. I hope you're right.
Excuse me.
I figured it was him.
Good enough overhearing what you just said.
Inspector Gregson.
I have some good news and some bad news. Which do you want first?
Oh. We have to choose? Always, every time. The bad news comes first. When hope is all you have, hold on to it. That's my guiding principle.
Right. In that case, good news it is.
Huh?
Sorry, but it's just a lot easier to explain everything.
Why'd you give us a choice? Why did you ask me my preference?
As you might have heard, Mr. Shamspear has just been conscious.
Yes, we saw it happen in all its terrifying glory.
Yeah, that big chip. It's dead. He's still being treated by the doctors. Managed to get a written statement from them already.
Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Natsume? Oh, thank goodness. It's all over then. I can leave this somewhere, so...
Here's the bad news.
Sorry.
Sorry, no, that's not on the cards.
What? Why ever not, Inspector?
Mr. Shamspear has implicated someone as being responsible for what happened last night.
Implicated someone? Oh dear. You don't mean...
I'm sorry to say I do, yes. Pointed the finger at you, Mr. Natsume. Sweet poison he seeketh to end my life. That wicked is
No!
Afraid he'll be appearing in court as the He'll be one to make the necessary preparations.
Once again, Sosuke-san having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. Whether his room was haunted or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court and do the utmost to break the curse that blighted him.
We never got to show him the puppets.
No, we didn't. To be continued. I would love to save our current game. So we are on to save number 3, yeah. Last time we played this was 12/23/2022. Hey, we're moving to trial. Yes, it's what? 8:30?
Yep.
We can go up. We can continue. I like to stop at those to be continue points, but
Yeah.
I still want to keep our
Depends on
3-hour
how
windows.
fast- Yeah. See, depends on how fast we can do those parts.
Yeah. We'll probably try and
February.
stop at like a testimony or a cross-examination.
Yeah, maybe. February 22nd, 9:23 a.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber.
Old Bailey. This place always makes me feel strange. I seem to get chills down my spine and break out in a nervous sweat all at the same time. Well, I didn't think I'd be back here so soon. That's my line! Good morning! Ah, good morning, Mr. Natsume. It was only 2 days ago that I was declared not guilty here. Yes, so he somehow managed to prove he didn't stab Miss Green in the back. But now this! Another morning! Another murder! And here I am in this hellhole! I can't keep coming to court! Beginning to think he's right. It really does seem as though he's cursed. Mr. Naruhodo, I am afraid I have bad news. Oh. Mr. Natsume, good morning. Yes,
Stops
morning.
to say good morning.
So here we are again. Yes, again. Judicial Assistant Miss Mikotoba Esquires, what's the bad news? Oh dear, you heard, did you? You come in shouting at the top of your voice. People can't help hearing what you say! Oh, I'm so sorry. There's nothing wrong with Susato. Now, what is it? Well, it seems that the prosecution in today's trial will be led by Lord Barak von Zeeks. Because when is it not?
When is it not? He has to determine whether the Japanese can be
Von
proper lawyers.
Zeeks? Ah! Oh no! Oh no no!
Ah, the Reaper of the Bailey.
The so-called Reaper of the Bailey, the most legendary prosecutor in the land. In the trial 2 days ago, he pursued Sosuke-san and I relentlessly. Of course, by the skin of our teeth. We managed to pull through, but still. Perhaps Mr. Natsume's acquittal in the last trial wasn't the end of the matter, after all. Yes, I know what you're thinking. The legend of the Reaper that says, nothing can save a person in the dock when Lord Van Zeeks is the prosecutor. Oh no. Yeah, even if the person's found not guilty, the accused will meet a mysterious end one way or another. We've experienced it firsthand. In the end, we successfully defended him at the most terrifying end after his acquittal right there in the Old Bailey. That's case 5, right?
Case 3 and 5.
Okay. Do I have to put
Like,
this?
case 5 kind of had the points of case 3 type.
Okay. Ah! Do I have to put up with those ice-cold eyes boring into my soul again? Cursed by evil spirits, and now by the Reaper! They're petrifying perils, potentially! Well, if it's potentially, at least you appear to have hope, Mr. Natsume. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. Yes? I'm innocent. You have to believe me. You more than anyone now. Don't worry. I'll be your steadfast ally every step of the way in this battle. I promise. And this promises to be a hard battle, I fear. Well, trial is scheduled to begin shortly. We should move into the courtroom. Let's go. Oh yes, I forgot to say. I'm afraid he won't be able to make it. Mr. Sholmes, I mean.
Good.
You get out of more dialogue. How does it make you feel?
Fine, you know what? I will take Van Zeeks if you absolutely want me to.
Yeah.
There is no point in you having to go both sides.
Because I'm just right now looking at the voices of who I'm doing and you're doing. Yeah, we can play on defense your prosecution. This is fine. Probably for the best. Oh, if you were here, I might be tempted to rely on his help. And that could be seen as weakness. If Lord Van Zeeks were to notice, he'd prey on it mercilessly. At least that's my gut feeling. Mr. Naruhodo. You're right. Yes, you're so right. Oh, well said, locum student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. Well said. I swear on the sword of my side and the spirit of Cosmo that it harbors. I'll show him what a Japanese lawyer can do. I'll set you free. With honor. Oh, yes. 22nd February.
9:48. The Old Bailey courtroom.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare the court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and the defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
Prosecution.
I'm gonna turn the... Oh, it's just on or off. Good to know. I was gonna turn the music down just a smidge. Case, I'm gonna just turn the whole Elgato down a brief. It's just really loud on my end. Probably loud for stream. Alright. The defense is ready, my lord. Just in my imagination. It's really there. Lord Van Zeeks has such an animosity towards us Japanese for some reason. It was some time ago now that he first became known as Reaper the Bailey, I believe. The past few years, he hasn't appeared in court at all. Yet now he's back in the courtroom, though for some reason, only when I'm defending. This Reaper, his curious disdain for us Japanese, is a prosecutor shrouded in mystery. Still, this isn't the time to be pondering it. I have to concentrate on Sosuke-san's trial. Furthermore, I now call upon the 6 ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. Are you ready to fulfill your duty?
Absolutely. I had a feeling this American wasn't innocent before.
You want me to pick up juror 2?
Yeah, maybe.
I must say, I feel especially ruthless on the day when my hat refuses to sit right.
Well, I rather like how you're wearing your hat. I think the ruthless look is very matching to
I need to be somewhere at 10 o'clock. I have a very important meeting. Let's make this quick.
Couldn't agree more. We need to take it. 5 Bob tonight or the missus will go through the roof.
Urban, may the Lord show us all the light here and lead his flock to a righteous verdict. May the
English jury system seems so very different to our own, isn't it? It's quite extraordinary to think the power of judgment is given to 6 members of the public, and that the judge can only pass sentence when all jurors are in agreement about the defendant's guilt. 6 citizens of London chosen at random, or at least that's the idea.
1, 2, 3, 4. I can guarantee you, like, 4 were
I was just gonna point that out.
four of the jurors here were in previous trials.
Oh, I was gonna say his trial, because the old Juror 1, Juror 6, Juror 2, and Juror 3 were in that trial. I don't know about the other 2.
Yeah, Juror 1 definitely.
I think the only new juror is Juror 4. I think we've seen all the other jurors before.
Yep, I think so too. The prosecution would draw attention to the fact that the accused was on trial here about 2 days ago. Accordingly, possibly the same jurors have been asked to return today.
Oh.
Fancies, you son of a bitch! Why are you pointing that out?
Very well. Let us commence the trial. Lord Van Zeeks, your opening statement, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is not the intent of the prosecution to cast doubt over your past decision. However, the innocent verdict according to this decision before is at dire consequence. The accused repent for his wrong, instead, he used his freedom to perpetrate the most blood-curdling crime, namely, that of the attempted murder of a neighboring daughter, an innocent Englishman. To explain the circumstances of the crime, the prosecution calls its first witnesses to the stand.
Witnesses, plural.
The detective responsible for investigating the scene and the accused himself.
I thought you said Sholmes wasn't here, Susato.
Nope, Gregson.
Okay.
Witnesses, your names and occupations, please. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard's Homicide Division.
Sosuke Natsume from the Empire of Japan. My government ordered me to come here as a student to study your language and culture. Mr. Natsume. Yes, my lord, sir? I'm quite sure I'm not mistaken. You swore an oath never to step foot in my courtroom again. I remember as if it were yesterday.
2 days ago. The day before, in fact. Close enough.
Believe me, this is the last place I want to be.
Inspector, let's hear from you first. Explain the case for the court. Right you are, sir. The incident occurred at the Garadeb household where the defendant has lodgings. The ground floor room of the victim, Mr. William Shamspeare. The defendant has already admitted to visiting the victim on the night in question. Mr. Shamspeare appeared to collapse in his room as a result of poisoning by Miss Trinchinella.
Fine.
He was found the following morning when the landlord, suspecting something was wrong, broke down the door.
This means, I presume, that the door to the victim's room was locked at the time of the incident? That's a lie.
The victim, Mr. Shamspeare, lives to tell tale. Very nearly did it, and was halfway to heaven when we first found him. I was the first officer on the scene, my lord. I have a photographic print here that I took at the time to show how it looked.
Yes, a chilling scene indeed. The man looks very much deceased.
That's right. Everyone doesn't believe that's exactly what he was. Or, that's probably not too much.
Very well, I shall accept this photographic print as evidence for the court. You were saying?
Something I do want to point out.
Hang on.
As soon as we're able to view the record.
Which is just once the next line loads. Right?
There is a huddle underneath the gas control box.
Yeah, I see that. Also, you can't see the other piece of soap in this angle. I believe it's behind the hat.
It is behind the hat, yeah.
We also can't see the other teacup because it's in his other hand.
Yep.
No then, Mr. Natsume. Yes. Yes? As the defendant, do you have anything to say at this juncture? They're haunted by evil spirits. Good gracious, what's haunted? My lodgings! There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings. The tenant before me died in mysterious circumstances. A woman was stabbed by no one on the street outside. My neighbor was poisoned. And me! What about me? I've been nearly killed countless times. Killed, Mr. Natsume? How? Even on that fateful night, it happened. When I returned from Mr. Shamspeare's room, I lit my gas stove and climbed into bed. Before long, the stove went out. And somebody tried to kill me! You must always extinguish all fires before retiring to the night, Mr. Natsume. But it's so cold, my runny nose would freeze. The point is, I didn't poison my neighbor. Oh, why am I being accused of this? Why is my existence so cursed? Thank you, witnesses. I believe I have a reasonably clear picture of events.
If I could raise one more point, my lord. One more conclusive.
Conclusive? Go on.
Fortunately, the victim, Mr. Shamspeare, has regained consciousness after his ordeal. And he has named the true culprit. The poison consumed by the victim was administered in a cup of tea that he drank on the night in question. Tea was brought to the victim's room by the accused.
Accused? Good grief! Order! Order! Can I get a side of chips? Yes, that's the crux of this whole case. If Sosuke-san is innocent, then why is the victim accused then? Well, Mr. Natsume, what do you have to say to this accusation? That evening, yes, I did take some freshly brewed tea with me to when I visit Mr. Shamspeare's room as a gift. The public water pump outside always freezes at night, so I bought some bottled water especially to make it. And this was the result? Never will I touch tea again. Never! The public pump was frozen, you say? It's not information we've heard before. That will do, thank you. Now, according to our laws, the defense must have the opportunity to cross-examine witnesses at least once. Therefore, I call upon these witnesses now for formal testimony. I assume the prosecution has no objection?
None whatsoever, my lord.
Good. Then you will give the account of the events on the night in question to the court now. Yes, my lord. Stormtrooper. The catastrophic night. I was around 9 o'clock in the evening when I visited my neighbor, and I took some tea with me as a gift. We had a heated literary debate over a nice hot drink, after which I went back to my room at around 11. My tea was completely harmless. He couldn't have locked the door behind me otherwise, could he?
Pitch 9 takes some time to have an effect on the body. People don't keel over immediately after taking it. The victim would have been perfectly able to lock the door after his guest left. The argument still stands. You might have to press him on...
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Yes, I see. It all seems relatively straightforward. Excuse me, but that testimony does raise one other crucial point, I think. So Natsume claims his tea to have been harmless, presumably, though. The scalps have been examined for traces of poisons, haven't they? Now I think of that.
No, as it happens, no. I haven't been able to.
Did I hear you correctly, Inspector? Scotland Yard has failed to examine the suspect substance? How could you overlook something so important? Is that the first thing you should have done?
I learned Japanese brand is mostly incensed. The inspector said Scotland Yard.
Good. Tell me your Discord didn't just die. We might have just lost Hawk. Yes, we did. Oh, hang on. Hello?
My computer crashed on me.
I thought it did. I'm like, oh, well, we just lost Hawk.
I'm loading it back up now. But I'm full. So I switched to my phone, so apologies for the mic volume.
Yeah. Are you able to see the stream, or are you just continuing on your save file as well?
I am trying to keep it lined up as best I can.
Okay.
And like we're still pull out at the Scotland Yard part.
Yep. Yeah, because
The
last thing
inspector said
I was gonna say the last thing you said on stream was Scotland Yard.
The inspector said Scotland Yard was unable to examine the tea, not that it was overlooked.
Unable. Why?
It's simple enough. There was none left. Not a drop. Someone must have been very thirsty indeed. With current scientific techniques, it's not possible to test for poison under such circumstances. We only need a drop, but that one drop does actually have to exist, funnily enough. Well, I know exactly what we're presenting on one. Hang on, this is starting weird on me.
You're fine. If you need me to take over some of your lines, I can. Just let me know when.
The lack of examination notwithstanding, it appears nothing other than the tea passed the victim's lips on the night in question.
Hmm? I see. Thank you. The matter is clear.
Cast your eyes over the jury, my learned friend.
What?
You can see it in their faces, I'm sure. Recognition of the accused's guilt. Your client's fate is all but sealed. In mere moments from now, you will lose. Your compatriot will be damned for all eternity.
Right. I can feel all 6 of the jurors looking daggers at me. I can't let them beat me down. I won't. Counsel for the defense, proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord.
Okay, almost loaded back into Discord.
You also now have permissions to join the channel.
Oh, you just did that just to make it so a little
Yeah.
easier on you?
More on you for mobile.
Fair.
I know mobile does not like to be moved.
Oddly enough, I've never had that problem.
Really? It's happened to a lot of people who've been on my stream before. Alright, so we said we wanted to press the line about the poison.
Hold it!
How long does it take for systems to appear, then? You need me to take over your lines, Mr. Gregson?
Well, at this point, I'm trying to reconnect on my computer on Discord, but it's not wanting to cooperate for some reason.
Alright, I'll just take over for you until you rejoin then. According to the
Well, I
court.
can use my phone for a little bit.
Alright, well, you got Gregson lines, my dude.
Alright. Alright, what did you...
We pressed the line on the poison about how long it takes to see symptoms. So the 4th statement.
According to the coroner I was speaking to at the yard, about 30 minutes after the poison's consumed. Then the victim suffers violent convulsions, cramping and stiffness, and eventually dies from asphyxiation.
So there's a 30-minute interval between when the poison is ingested and the onset of symptoms. A lot of different types of poison in the world, that's for sure. Oh dear, death by poisoning again. It's always so awful.
30 minutes is a long time. Certainly long enough for the victim to have locked the door behind the accused after he left.
But not enough time to complete one part of this chapter.
I'm probably gonna have to pull the battery out of my new computer for a quick minute at some point
Yeah.
tonight.
Well, we only got another half hour of stream left, so you might as well just hang out on mobile.
Yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing.
Can't deny that. Further reads Sosuke-san's alibi. Hey, we just got the medical report.
I have the medical report from the doctor who examined the victim here, my lord. Spells it out, really. Accused of the only person who could have done it.
Very well. The court will add this report to the court record as evidence. I want to read this thing before we continue.
Yep, same.
Oh yes, I see it here. Delayed onset of symptoms. Alright, cause of coma. Ingestion of a small quantity of strychnine. Toxic effects present 30 minutes after ingestion. High likelihood of substance will be mixed in with tea that the victim was drinking. No sample can be tested. Poison incident around 1:30 a.m. That's from the victim's pocket watch that appears to have been broken when the man collapsed after delayed onset of symptoms. No container for the poison was found at the scene. So we know he was poisoned when he went to bed. Not when Sosuke-san was there.
Right, that also lines up with what Garrett told us.
Yeah. He said he went to bed shortly
That
after
he was
1.
up till about 1 in the morning.
Yeah. Great. So yeah, that final statement's perfectly fine. He went back to his room around 11, so we still have this 2-hour gap. I want to present the medical report on the second statement. Just based off that time difference. Because it says the toxic effects present 30 minutes after ingestion, and poisoning occurred around 1:30. But he said he went to his bed around 11. That's not 30 minutes, that's 2.5 hours. That's a whole ManintehHat stream.
Like, I see the logic there.
I don't see anything else we could present.
Yeah, the teacups might have to come later.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. I think we're getting your head assault with the teacups. I'm going to present the medical report regardless if you want it or not.
Fair.
Objection!
Objection. Mr. Natsume, you say it was 11 p.m. when you left to return to your room, correct? Yes. Inspector Gregson, can we rely on the information in the medical report unconditionally? Of course we can. There's no problem with that report.
There's no problem with that report, Sunshine.
Thank you. Actually, I think there's a very big problem. Because there's a chronological inconsistency between it and the defendant's testimony.
Chrono what? What are you on about?
According to this report, the victim must have consumed the poison at around 1:30 in the morning. And yet, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, left the victim's room at 11. Yes, that's right. There's more than 2 hours of missing time there. Mom can't get Hawk and Thomas straight. Can't get Hat's name first try. Thanks, Skull. In other words, there was poison in that tea Mr. Natsumi brought to the victim's room. How could the victim have fallen into it 2.5 full hours after the defendant left? The defense's argument is entirely reasonable. How do you respond, Lord Van Zeeks? Unfazed. Oh, I hope you have the wine glasses to be him.
I'd have to go get one.
I said plural, sir. Do you know how many he goes through in a trial?
A lot, yeah, I'm aware. Pray you forgive the discourtesy if my mind has wavered.
Wandered,
thank you. I was considering what cuisine would be best to complement the contents of my hallowed chalice this luncheon. How could it have happened, you asked? I do hate to shatter illusions, but my Nipponese friend appears to be chasing a phantom idea.
a phantom of the opera.
Is it so hard to imagine that the victim drank his tea after the accused had left? For example, the time stated in the medical report. Yes, at around 1:30.
Objection!
Objection. So Natsume brought the tea with him to drink together with his neighbor. And it's a well-known saying. Drink tea while it's hot.
Objection!
Objection! In my country, there is an even more apt saying. There is nothing more refreshing than cold tea.
The point is, there was such a long gap. And maybe there were other ways to explain the victim can't be poisoned. Other possibilities? What sort of possibilities, Counsel? I'm out of water.
He did not think that part through, did he?
As I get a hydrate. Well, you're gonna have to wait for my lines for a bit. Thanks, Max.
Don't mind me, my computer is fighting with me for some reason. And then I'm trying to get it to cooperate. Put up settings immediately.
Once again, thank you, Max, for making me go refill these waters for the second time this stream. First one moderator, now another. You guys are just out to mess with me, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Only twice? Only twice. But that's because I've been filling 2 at a time, so it's technically 4. Alright. Well, for example, the man could have had another visitor. God, everybody is out to get. Alright. At number 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disconnect the battery on my computer for a quick minute. And at some point.
Well, we still got like 15
Another
minutes
visit.
left.
It's gonna take more than that.
Oh.
Because you gotta remember, it'd be a laptop. I gotta unscrew the back of it.
Yep.
That's a very bold assertion, my learned friend. Someone who has nothing to substantiate it.
Or the victim could have taken the poison of his own volition. Suggest this may have been suicide, Counsel.
Objection!
Objection! Mr. Shamspeare has categorically he denied suicide. The idea can and must be discounted.
Objection!
Objection? But he could be lying.
Disgust.
Silence is deafening. Is something wrong, Lord Van Zeeks?
He's not angry, he's just disappointed. I was listening to the sound of the carriage pulling up outside the courtroom. Pray, forgive the discourtesy.
Skull. We've had more than 2 hats before. I would expect there to be more than 2 hats in the future.
Yeah, there is a clip of him playing a Pokemon fan game where he's had a tower of hats.
I think it was like 6 hats. Like, I think 3 people
6
came
or
in,
7.
redeemed 2 hats, and I think it was 7.
Yeah.
We've already forgave the discourtesy. Carriage? What carriage?
It would seem that the key player in this case has just arrived.
Let me guess. The victim? Hold it! You're unfazed.
Did we decide who's doing this character voice?
I don't even know who character this is.
I'm fairly confident we both know it's Shamspear.
If it's Shamspear, I can be Bravos.
Yeah, I think it was Shamspear. Here, go for it.
Here's the other thing. I'm gonna offer it since he's talking in chat. Do we want the voice actor, the moderators, to come in and voice act?
Ooh, that could be fun.
It would be fun. I'm always down for surprise guests on stream. Out, brief candle, life's but a walking shadow.
Disconnect everything.
A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then heard no more. You should, you're a moderator. You gave permission to both the moderators. Oh, it didn't save. Now you or no, that's everybody.
Yeah, you need to send me and Max's mods.
There are mods in the Discord server.
Alright,
We're supposed to have the ability to move people.
Wait, you just did the thing today, right?
Yeah, it just edited it today. I did it when I gave you permissions to rejoin. If you're having issues joining, Max, you can just join lobby and I can drag you in.
He may also be on mobile as well.
That too. But
I'm at least going to get started on my computer right there.
okay.
Here.
Poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, then is heard no more. Is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. And who, sir, are you? Oh, hey, there he is. Welcome aboard, Max.
I am here. I'm waiting for my piece to boot up. I'm using this for now.
It's fine. I am streaming, so if you want to pull it up on your phone, you can. Otherwise,
That's what I'm doing.
Otherwise, we could just continue. Is there anybody that intrigues you that you want to take from either of us?
Don't take from me. I've not been taking from one too many roles on this one.
He has basically been the prosecution, and that is it.
Prosecution, the inspector, and Scholz.
Pick one for me.
I'll gladly give you the judge. I'm also going to give you Shamspear just because I want to hear you recite Shakespeare.
Alright.
Alright, that's screwed.
So, are you? William Shamspear, my lord. Alas, 'twas I, undone by these bitter events. I am the victim.
Turn you down for a bit, but that's fine. Forgot I had you at 135%. What? What's he doing here?
The prosecution seeks to call this gentleman to the stand. For this testimony, my learned friend's feudal response. beautiful resistance will be utterly crushed.
Flaming, last I checked, your name wasn't Shamspear. You're calling him as witness?
Very well, Counsel. I grant your request with interest. I'm curious to discover what court shall hear from the victim himself. Happy am I, Shamspear, to regale thee of my tale of woe, my lord.
But I still have my own tale to tell. My own tale of worse woe. I can regale the court with my tale of perfect innocence in perfect English.
Yeah, you're saying it so sick.
I know.
Let the court now hear the victim.
Who are you? Alright. That's Mr. Shamspear. Who's that other man beside him? Yes, I feel sure we've got a glimpse of that man before.
State your names and occupations for the court, please, witnesses.
I tell words so sweet, they do scent the breeze. An inventor of ideas so profound, they compose the earth. The unrivaled poet and the unmatched scribe, William Shakespeare. Were the great bard to be recalled to life anew? Lo, what a magnificent man! Good fellows, I am he who ponders such a miracle, William Shakespeare.
Oh, my name's Meteor Man. Danger Man, Meteor Man.
That is Meter Man. Because it's always a pun. Yeah.
Meter
Man, it's really Meter Man.
Yeah, the Ace Attorney's known for their horrible names. Okay.
To be fair, this is the same guy.
Yeah, oh, much clearer.
I'm gonna back up a little bit because I feel like the Shamspear is gonna be
Verbose.
yes.
I work for the Ultimate Gas Company, East End Branch Office.
I love the Boston accent, it's great. I remember now. It was yesterday on Briar Road. Oh yes.
Oh, yes.
It's me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's Renosuke speaking. Oh yes, she's right, it's him. Oh, what's this? What's that man doing over there? Looks like he's trying to see Josuke-san's logic. Something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? Excuse me, could we have a word? Huh? And then you just disappear. Yes, we spotted him outside Mr. Garrett's house that morning. He's a gas company employee? What does he have to do with this case?
So, Mr. William Shamspear, you are the victim in this miserable affair, correct?
Oh heaven, oh hell, do you command me to remember? That sweet poison that did cross me and cross mine innocent lips.
I subpoenaed him for the trial, with his doctor's permission, naturally. Hearing the testimony of the aggrieved will remove any room for doubt from the jurors' minds, I'm sure.
Behold, you have only to rearrange the letter of my name to see that
What? A seraph?
Misa Sheriff, an angel indeed. Thus be I noble of mind, sweet of nature, and verily honest of heart, as all heavenly angels be.
Because there isn't a less contrived meaning in your name. No, not at all. The jurors seem to be very moved by this man, I'm afraid. They're actually taking the serif anagram idea seriously.
Thank you, witnesses, for your illuminating introductions.
But, my lord, what's the man next to Mr. Shamspear doing here? The gasman, I mean.
What? Me? Well, now.
Allow me to enlighten my learned friend. Recall, I presume, your earlier impertinence? When you suggested that the victim had another visitor to his room on the night in question? And moreover, that the victim is a compulsive liar?
What? No, I didn't quite say that.
This young chin stroker here can controvert your wild claims conclusively. Is that not so, Mr. Mutimer?
Hang on. No, I'm just here. I hereby call for your formal testimonies. You will tell the court as lucidly as possible what happened on the night in question.
One may smile and be a villain. Yes, it doth pain me when I let the truth be spoken, the truth of wintry night and my discontent.
I am so glad I'm having you be Shamspear. Best decision all stream.
Yep.
Wintry night of my discontent.
The snow lay about. My neighbors did cometh in the evening, bearing the gift of tea. But merry, bitter was his drink, and when he left, I did fall prostrate on my table. 'Twas the tea alone did pass my lips that late hour, naught else.
I was outside this bloke's window in the freezing cold all night, keeping his eye on this room. No one else visited this room but in the short little round-backed Asian fella.
Wait, what did you say? You were keeping an eye on Mr. Shamspear's room all night?
That's right. Of course, the bloke's window was all but blocked up, isn't it? But there's a little gap in the bricks where you can see into the room. So I spent the night trying to keep my teeth from chattering and peering through the night. Through that. The question is, sir, why? Well now, that's because he was on my list.
What piece of work is this man? Wherefore wouldest thou not stare into wonderment?
What are you talking about?
This buzzing busybody hath not part in this play. I pray thee, pay him no heed, make no more ado about his tedious words.
What'd you say about me?
Calm yourself. This court is concerned with what happened on the night in question. Nothing more.
Indeed, that is so.
And, as the testimony we have just heard clearly reveals, there was no one other than the accused present at the time who could have carried out this crime. Hopefully that disconnected the battery long enough.
Well, I believe this may be the final testimony of the trial. Now, counsel, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. Stormtrooper.
I'm so happy I don't have to speak on any of these for a little bit, so I can focus on this.
I am very thankful for Joe for picking up both of the witnesses. I have needed a break. Thank you so much. Now, I'm not going to make you reread everything. So, We know he brought tea, that's fine. And he left, I did fall. He left.
I do want to press on the second statement.
I kind of do as well. I'm just going to reread the other statements first. Was he alone? Did I pass the deadly hour? Not else. I was also supposed to in the freezing cold all night. Keeping an eye on his room. When else visited his room? I also kind of want to press on the fourth statement on why the hell are you watching from outside?
Yeah, second and fourth.
We're just going to go in order. We'll start with pressing second.
Hold it!
Let me stop you there. Mr. Natsume left your room at 11 o'clock, but it wasn't until after 2 that the poison... That's a typo. It should be after 1.
I see just vibing there.
The amounts to me more than 3 hours of missing time. Or no, yeah, he left at 11 and 2:30. Never mind, that's right.
Yep.
Right?
Well, because I'm actually doing it because I'm actually getting into the character.
Yeah, that's fine.
Dude, you are doing the same thing I'm doing. To a certain point, because another character we interviewed had a pipe, so I was kind of acting like I had that. And Hat here decided, I hope you have several wine glasses for the prosecutor. I'm like,
The defendant really had put the poison into your tea. That 3-hour window of time is something you're going to have to explain.
Gladly. 'Tis an easy task.
What?
I did drink the tea, not while my guest Terry, but after he took of leave. Fate was stone cold, but at 1 hour post midnight, verily were my lips parched.
Objection!
Objection? That doesn't sound normal.
Nay, 'tis quite ordinary, sire. After all, thou wouldn't recall of every debate amid such argument. There had been no time for fiery tea.
That's a lie. Romeo and Juliet again. And who was stronger?
Actually, hold on. Check something in the court record.
I want to look at the teas because we literally pushed how one of them is stained, one of them's not. So Natsume had time to drink his tea. That's why I say he is lying.
Yeah, it could very well be on that. I still would like to. I still think it's worth pressing on the fourth statement when we get back to it.
I do believe that as well. And Zeke's?
Mr. Shakespeare, in summary, allow me to confirm. You do not come here with the intention of naming your attacker.
But of course, my liege. 'Twas the stupid lover of words did not attempt to shuffle me off this mortal coil.
Ugh, we all know what that means. We're gonna press the fourth statement as well.
Hold it!
But the windows of the house have all been filled in. Historical artifact of now the defunct window tax.
Yeah, you're right there. All bricked up horribly. But as it happens, there's a little part of the brickwork at the bottom corner that's been opened up. I was looking through that gap.
Yes, there were a few bricks loose, weren't there? For some strange reason, a couple of bars of soap were lined up on the ledge outside as well. Is that what you're getting at, Hawk? Was the bars of soap?
Check the actually, wait a minute. That was taken after the fact that Miami did the case. Never
We
mind.
can't even see it because it's blocked by the
No,
mannequin.
here's the thing. We have full view of that corner, but nothing to indicate that they could have been put back in the in-between time.
Yeah, but the other thing is where the bricks are loose is literally blocked by the standing mannequin here.
Really?
Yes. You can't see the brick outline from that angle.
Kind of can, but I get your point.
Yeah, it's very, barely noticeable.
Yep.
I don't like going around poking my chin in other people's business, especially on a freezing cold night. But them's my orders, so that's what I'll keep doing, as long as there's breath in my body.
What's with all the theatricals today?
Out of interest, Mr. Niederman, after the accused had left and returned to his own lodging, did you see the victim leave the room at all?
No, he never left. He was in that room the whole time as far as I'm concerned.
And therefore discount the possibility of suicide.
How can you be sure of that?
The police carried out a thorough investigation of the scene and found no receptacle for the poison. Since we know the victim didn't leave his room, and hence didn't dispose of the poison's container himself, it's clear that this was no attempted suicide. The culprit could have removed the receptacle.
Oh, yes. Lucidly explained, Counsel. Thank you.
It really was. Can't argue with the logic. I kind of want to present on 2, but I'm not sure what. Yeah, he did fall onto his table. There's nothing conflicts there. Anything about time and tea?
About the only thing I could.
Give tea. There was a drink when he's left at the table. That checks out.
Was the tea alone past my lips that late hour? No.
That checks out with the.
On the third. I'm gonna press on the third statement and see what we get from that.
I'm just gonna double check before I press with you. I'm kind of right there with you.
All right, and
Press.
Hold it!
I did the battery disconnect, reconnect. I just gotta forward everything back up on my computer, and I should be good to go.
So, you didn't have any kind of evening meal, dinner, supper?
Fee of luxury, fee of gluttony, to thee thrice daily, but a waste of time.
Sorry.
I would that my belly were full, no more oft than the sun doth rise.
Well, most heroic eating habits, I must say.
Night and day I do fill my hours with learned study of the great bard and playwright. Hence is it that there doth not in the chamber be then the costume of mine art.
That would appear to be the case. Even a rodent was found starved to death in your room.
Ouch. Now I think of it, it's not just food that was conspicuously missing from that room, is it? I don't recall seeing a single plate or script anywhere.
Oh, I have devoured them all.
You've eaten them?
Every word be writ within my skull. Didst thou imagine it? Didst thou imagine otherwise?
Right. That wasn't misleading at all. Now, could you turn around, do you think?
Oh shit, I should have turned around.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the conclusion that the only way the poison could have passed the victim's lips is in the tea. Wait a minute.
Press final statement.
Let me double check something else that just caught my eye. I have a really weird suspicion. The piece of the envelope we found earlier. You noticing something I'm noticing?
No.
There's discoloration around the tear. Here.
There is. I don't know what supposed to represent.
Something else.
I think you're overthinking it.
I might be. I'm gonna see what Susato thinks real quick.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Hi, Susato. That's the entire testimony. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, can't see any obvious holes at all, to be honest. Oh dear.
We just might have to keep pressing every statement.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm worried about.
That's what Susato is suggesting.
Yeah, that's all you know. So,
Hold it!
press the first statement. To be clear, by neighbor, you are referring to the defendant, Mr. Natsume.
Indeed, sire. Perchance thou wouldst I call him the man from upstairs.
And at what time did the mustachioed Nipponese visit you in your room?
Our meeting was promised for the hour of 9, and lo, did he come to tender a gift of fragrant tea.
Details which are in accordance with the defendant's own testimony, yes?
We were broiled in such literacy debate as history hath not seen before.
By which I presume he means your discussion about who was stronger, Romeo or Juliet.
Shakespeare did play the part of young Romeo, whilst my neighbor played the fair Juliet. Each of us dressed as would our characters be, to bring a weight upon a merry experiment.
I cannot imagine the scene.
Hey, Winston.
Really, thy name is woman. Canst thou imagine how dismayed I was? Yes, I had heard of the Eastern art of Jujutsu, but ne'er did I dream would be the skill practiced by the cometh.
Welcome. Wow.
Yeah, that's rough.
That hurt.
Near did I dream 'twould be a
Ne'er did
skilled
I dream
practice.
that would be skilled practiced by the commonly maiden.
Juliet B. Romeo up. This is not helping our case.
I believe the court has heard enough about your earth-shattering literary debate. Perhaps you could reiterate your statement about the tea that the accused brought to your room?
My liege, I am thy servant. Gladly I would do thy bidding.
The only thing we have left is to press the last statement.
Alright, I'm gonna use...
Hold it!
I'm gonna run to the restroom as my computer boots everything back up.
Okay. We're gonna just go
So
through the
if I'm
voice
not
real quick.
back, if I'm not back for something from Matt and Zeke's, Hat, you have the con.
Got it. Captain Hethcon. You say a short little round-backed Eastern fella, so you can't be sure it was the defendant then.
Objection!
Well, I'm still here for this.
Yeah.
Objection! How many other short, little, round-backed Nipponese with a mustache do you think there are in London?
Well, of course, it's only a narrow gap, and it was quite dark, so I didn't notice the mustache. But he showed up at around 9, so I'm pretty sure of myself.
And when the person you saw arrived, did he and Mr. Shamspeare drink tea together?
No, sorry, I couldn't say.
Why not?
Because I couldn't see into the room that all well, couldn't I? But what I did see was the silhouette of a little round-backed fellow wearing a pretty dress. Then the pair of them started kind of wrestling match. I tell you, I didn't know what to make of it.
Huh. I suppose that was the Romeo and Juliet championship battle getting underway. Mr. Meterman, allow me to confirm one final time. Apart from the accused, can you state with certainty that no one else visited the victim on the night in question?
No question. Yes, man's honor.
Hold it. That would be Duncan's juror, unless you want it.
My lord. Goodness me. Yes, Mr. Foreman. I've kept my mouth shut and listened up until now, but this has gone long enough. Are you all with me?
Yes! Are we to understand that you ladies and gentlemen of the jury are in agreement with one another?
Alright, I'm back. Give me a minute.
That you've reached a unanimous decision?
Who right we have? Are you all with me?
Yes! Wait, no! The defense is in the middle of a cross-examination! Wow.
Now switching roles.
Let him have his juror back?
Yeah.
Still doing the thing.
Oh, big rip.
Alright, okay, I guess I continue if he's okay with his blessing of that.
Yeah. Sounds like he's a little busy anyway.
To be honest, I was holding out a bit of hope for you, young man. Especially after you identified those few hours that followed the accused leaving the victim's room.
Yes, the 3 missing hours, as you put it.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the computer at this point.
But in the end, what difference do they make? None, as far as I can see. And since that's now apparent, there's really no reason to delay our decision any longer. I'm gonna give you this one, Max.
Like I was saying before, if I don't take 5 bob home with me tonight, the missus will blow her to her top.
Huh? What's that? Sorry, didn't quite catch what you said.
Very well. Let the court be appraised of your decision. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings as the defendant's
Culpability.
culpability. Okay.
Guilty!
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Alright, I don't know why my computer's went like this all of a sudden. So,
We've got some jurors to sway.
yep.
All of you?
Well, it would appear that the jury is indeed unanimous.
Alright, I'll just keep going from my phone at this point.
Perfect timing. Time for you to drink some wine.
So, this time at least, it seems justice will be done. All's well that ends well, as they say. This calls for a toast, I feel. To the guilty being punished.
Mr. Naruhodo, please! The trial isn't over yet. What do you mean, Mr. Sato? What about the information I found in this encyclopedia of British law I have? That obscure right that belongs to defense in these situations, remember? The summonation examination. Yes, that's right. You don't have a jury in Japanese courts, of course. But here in British court of law, we can reverse the decisions of a majority of the jurors and force the trial to continue. This trial can't end now. Whatever it takes, we just can't let that happen. The defense moves to invoke its right to summonation examination, my lord.
Why am I not surprised? I learned Nipponese friends' inability to admit defeat. choose to cling desperately to some archaic rule you barely comprehend instead of accepting the truth.
Certainly no other defense counselor in recent times has exercised the right to summonation examination.
Because they all know that once the jury's mind is set, it cannot be altered.
Nevertheless, the right remains to be and must be upheld. The defense counselor's request is granted. This court will proceed with the summonation examination, as outlined by the Encyclopedia of British Law.
Thank you, my lord.
Are you and your fellows prepared, Mr. Foreman? Duncan?
Believe me, my lord, we know all about this young lad's tenacity. And we're ready for it.
Very well. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby call upon each of you to state the grounds upon which you find the defendant guilty of the crime for which he stands accused.
Judicial findings. The
jurors' contentions. The victim may not be well off, but he's a noble man and straight up. There's no reason to doubt the man.
Well, I do declare the good gentleman has no reason to lie. In fact, I think he's rather splendid.
Just look at the accused by comparison. He's Japanese, soups all the while, and has a mustache. Very fishy.
There's no evidence that suggests the gangling actor is a fraudsman, for now at least.
I really don't care, like, I just need this trial to end quickly.
3 hours of missing time is nothing when you reach my age, you know? Nothing at all.
There are literally only 2 of those that I can... that I think we'd even be able to get right off the bat.
Well, we've seen it happen before, where if we convince one, we can convince another one easily.
Yep.
I knew it. Every single one of them seems completely convinced. It seems all the jurors have to come to the conclusion that Mr. Shakespeare is a fine, upstanding, and honest citizen. Then he wouldn't really be a sham, would he? If you ask me, they've all been bewitched by his strange theatrical movements. Sadly, nothing Mr. Natsume has said appears to have registered at all. Well, here goes. Let's not forget. I pleaded with the jury on Sasuke-san's behalf before, and it worked. So you never know. Before we begin, it might be an idea for me to remind you exactly how Sonic works. Yes.
It basically works like cross-examination with a couple extra twists.
Yep. That's true, I suppose. Sasuke-san's fate is entirely in my hands now, too. Especially since I've forgotten some crucial detail. Well, wonder... through it again, or should I bother? Refresh my memory!
Alright.
Alright, so if you remember, key to changing the juror's mind is the things that they say to themselves. Yes, it's coming back to me. First, it's important to listen very carefully to each juror's statement. Then, if it sounds though one of those statements might contradict another, you have to... That's right, we pit them against each other. So we need to pit 2 jurors against each other that have conflicting statements. Without further ado, counsel, proceed with the summonation examination. Yes, my lord. Jury examination.
I'm honestly just gonna start by pressing everyone.
I'm gonna see if I can pit right off the get-go, because this is game 2. And it's the first examination, so I don't expect a whole lot of pressing to be needed. No reason to lie is rather splendid. Maybe we'll and look at the accused by comparison to Japanese equivalent. I don't see any way we can pit Juror 5 because he has no concern at all for the case unless we press him. And then 6, yeah, I feel like 5 and 6 we can't really do a whole lot, even if we were to press him. It's fishy because it's Japanese. Well, I know it is. Now remember, this is like 19th century, so 1800s.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I mean, they're trying to keep it somewhat historically accurate, even though it's a fictional universe. Am I able to save here? I am. As much as I'd like to continue, we are closing in on 10 o'clock. Which means I'm already granted everybody half an hour of overtime. I guess we can at least finish the summonation first.
We already started this part.
Yeah. I'm gonna press 5, just on the premise.
I'm pressing all of them in order at the
That's
moment.
fine. You keep talking about needing to take home some money. What's all that about, sir?
Finish last. That's what it's about.
What's that?
I'm talking about the Derby at Hyde Park, aren't I? It was the Queen's Cup last week, wasn't it?
Derby?
It was the dead cert. And that's the thing, I couldn't lose. So I took my wife's secret savings, like... But then this old man went and did the unthinkable. That stupid finish last.
Oh dear. I think it's clear what happened, isn't it?
This is the day the missus uses her saving for a trip down at the pub. So come on, let this business lie now. Just give it up.
Press 6.
I don't see any point in pressing 6 then. I think I'm gonna just take your book. We're gonna start pressing from the beginning.
Hold it!
Well, there are plenty of people in London that seem noble before. Could some of them also be liars? Hawk, you want your juror number 1?
Right, hold on. I've no doubt about it. That shaky client of yours, for example.
Absolutely not. Mr. Natsume is no liar.
Look, the point is, the only thing that passed the victim's lips that night was that Japanese man's teeth. When you take the gasman's testimony into account as well, the truth couldn't be any clearer.
Well, that's alarmingly logical.
Let me be frank here. I'm a gentleman with a gentleman's values. If it turns out that the old Shakespearean chum is a rotten liar after all, I'd gladly change my decision about the defendant. And I'm sure my fellow gentlemen on the jury would do the same. Isn't that right?
Yes, perhaps, though I don't see it happening. Here, what's that? Elderly gent on the end here, you know? You'll have to speak up.
I really don't care about all this nonsense. I just need this trial to be over.
How many gentlemen do we actually have on the jury, then? Alright, sir. I hold you to that. Don't forget what you said. So his statement's changed now. So if we can get the point out that he's a liar, we can pit him against someone.
Hold it!
Let's press you. You saying you believe him to be trustworthy because he's rather splendid? No, that's not what I said. The point is, the man is the victim here. What reason would he have to lie? And yes, he is rather splendid. So you say, yet again. Meanwhile, the man who stands accused behaves so suspiciously. It's exhausting to look at him. I'm afraid it's not splendid at all. Splendid logic there, madame. Thank you so much. Answer statement didn't change.
Hold it!
Alright, Mr. Gentleman. No. One of those things is the reason to find the man guilty. It is fishy. There is no point. There's no point dancing around the fact. He's Japanese, he has a mustache, and he stoops. See, you arrive at the conclusion in just 3 steps. 3 steps, like a waltz, in fact. You know, the more I think about it, the more this trial seems like a dance. You seem to be several steps ahead of yourself, though. You're on the wrong foot. No, there's nothing circumstantial evidence here. There's just no defendant's guilt.
What?
The victim's
Press
version.
4. Yeah.
Okay. The big chin man sits next to, isn't it? 1, he saw the Japanese man there. 2, he saw no one else. 3, he saw the Japanese man there. Oh. Another 3 steps. It actually just seemed more like a waltz, doesn't it? Right. And the prosecution will waltz its way to victory if I let you speak much more.
Hold it!
Fraudsman? What do you mean by that, Madame? Really is the most tiresome problem for the company. Most irritating. You can be certain that the certain is stealing from us, but without hard evidence, we can't even threaten to take action for fear of being sued. Sorry, you've lost me a little there. Are you? I'm the wife of Augustus Altamont, owner of the Altamont Gas Company. Good gracious, Altamont Gas, you say? Gas is the future of energy in this country and around the globe. Proper handling is
I think
essential.
we just found our out.
Yeah. Sure, the employees from the East End branch office would be the first to agree.
Absolutely, Lady Quinbley. Gotta be used properly. Ultimate Gas is the best in the world, of course.
I think we may have solved the mystery of the vow from earlier, Mr. Naruhodo. Right, he vowed in reference to his employer's wife, did he? Huh. So, would I be right in assuming that the reason Mr. Meterman was watching what Mr. Shamspear was up to in his room? I'm afraid there's no end to the lengths the population of the East End will go to steal our gas. So I really have no choice when the company identifies somebody as a possible fraudster. But to dispatch a worker that watched the suspect day and night, we're very thorough in our investigations. So you mean Mr. Shamspear is... wouldn't come out saying in public, but you could finish that sentence with a grubby little gas thief. You have noticed the public gallery in here, have you?
The eye of man hath not heard, the ear of man hath not seen. Faith, wouldst thou wound me with thy words, were I to let them penetrate the skin? But sayest hear not insult, only choirs of angels in song.
You may not have evidence yet, but my workers would not stop buzzing around you until they find it. When they do, you'll find yourself blasted back to your angelic heights in ultimate gas explosion.
Got it.
Shamspear has been stealing gas. Juror number 4. If you wouldn't mind adding that information to your statement. My pleasure. It was a bit ripping a thief apart you enjoyed. A little before that abject violence, if it's not too much trouble. Yes, of course. I agree. So let's pick Juror 4 against
Juror 1.
Those two can clearly contradict each other. Good gracious.
Gracious. To those whose statements do you refer, counsel?
Juror number 1.
What are you yelling about, lad?
I presume you've heard juror number 4's statement, made by the wife of the owner of Altamont Gas?
Well, yes.
Then victim, who you claim to be a noble, straight-up man, in fact, turns out to be a common thief?
So the good lady says. There's no evidence, is there? You and I both heard them say as much.
It's true, we don't have evidence as such, just yet. But the claims aren't baseless, you know.
What?
You heard me. Seeing as operation has already been compromised, I would suggest that the court hears testimony from our East End branch office employee over there.
I'll do whatever you say, my lady. Gasman's honor.
Juror number 1, you say you're a man of your word. Make sure that Mr. Shakespeare was a liar. You assured me that you would reconsider your decision about the defendant's guilt.
Yes, I did say that. And as a man of honor, I'll hold to it, as I'm sure the other gentlemen of the jury will.
Me? Oh well, yes. Now that we found that the man's a liar, perhaps we ought to consider the matter further. Well, if I'm perfectly honest, I haven't heard half of what you've all been saying. So if this means you'll recap a few points, that would suit me down to the ground.
No, I'm not having any part of this. I want this trial over and done with.
In that case, I shall change my leaning.
So, Mr. William Shakespeare, that is your real name. We of the jury demand to know exactly what kind of a man you really are.
We've tipped the scales. That's 4 jurors. For 4 for not guilty. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Victory! For now. Order! Order! With a side of fries.
Well, this is quite the extraordinary. As a result of the defense summation examination, the jury's leaning has changed. Now only 2 juries say guilty, whilst 4 say not guilty. I therefore declare this court to be in a state of discord, and order the trial to continue.
You have spoilt the bank. Okay. Mr. Shakespeare. The ladies and gentlemen of the court now find they are unable to trust you, the victim.
This is the easiest reading.
There you go.
But you gods will give us some faults to make us men. So God mended me, I do swear. This gasman speaketh of which concerns him most, not but gas, not but thin air. Ay, it burneth bright as while it hath no substance, and it doth reek foul.
Oi, what did you say? I do take it, Mr. Shakespeare, that you deny the allegations of gas thievery.
Most heartedly, my lord, hast thou forgot? I am a seraph, an angel, noble of mind, sweet of nature, and verily honest of heart.
You flowery-mouthed, pompous beanpole, just 'cause I haven't got the evidence yet.
Mr. Shakespeare, if, in fact, you are not noble of mind, sweet of nature, or honest of heart, if you are a liar, then your testimony would have no sway in this courtroom.
It is my considered opinion that at the present time, no other possible culprit of this crime has been identified. All testimony heard by the court thus far heavily implicates the defendant. In short, it would not be unreasonable at this stage for me to rule on the case.
Oh no.
However, in light of the fact that the jury has expressed concern about the fidelity of the witness, I believe believe it would be inappropriate for this court not to pursue the point further.
Objection!
Objection! I assure you, my lord, that would be a waste of the court's time. The gas in this case are unrelated.
Juror number 4. Yes? Didn't you say before that all you had no hard evidence to prove this man has been stealing gas, but you have strong grounds for suspecting him? That's right. We do, don't we, worker?
Absolutely, Lady Quinby. Gasman's honor. Very well. We will hear your testimony now.
I think this is a great place to stop.
Yep.
I'm just gonna save right now. Go over to slot 4. Since you two bozos have gotten me into the mentality of Persona 5 save states.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. I'm gonna go ahead and end stream. But before we do that, I'm gonna go push the button.
The button.
Thank you for pressing
Button.
the self-destruct button. This
Wait,
ship will
we're in here.
self-destruct in
Oh,
3
really?
minutes.
He's pushing the button.
Yeah, this stream will self-destruct in 3 minutes. I'm gonna deafen up so you guys don't have to hear it double. Thank you all for joining us here for some Great Ace Attorney 2. I do apologize, we didn't really have a nice spot to save, but we are gonna have to call it here for the night as it is basically past 10. You guys got more than 30 minutes of overtime out of me, but hey, we're here to have fun, aren't we? And I'm really enjoying it. The case is definitely picking up, and I can't wait for next week. So next week we'll pick right up. I do not know if these bozos are available for more voice acting, but I'll gladly offer it to them after the stream. And I will let you guys know either during Pal World on Saturday or Luminescent Platinum on Monday. The dominoes will fall when the dominoes fall. How about that? So, we will be back Saturday for Pal World. I'm going to be playing on my locally hosted server, like we were on Friday, on launch day. And I've been playing off and on my own time. God, it's fun. But we'll have to wait till next time. No, I shouldn't say wait till next time. We'll be playing on it. Just know, lots happened. Heck, we've actually even moved the very first base. Anyone on that server right now is welcome. Anyone who knows me personally, reach out to me in DMs. I will, if I trust you enough, I will give you the IP to play on it. If you just want to come watch, that's also cool too. So, in the last minute here, I'm just going to quickly recap. We've got Pal World from noon to 3 on Saturday. Monday, 6-ish for 3 hours with Luminescent Platinum once we get the save back from Moon. And then we'll be right back here next Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. sharp for Great Ace Attorney 2. Is there anybody we want to go visit? Wolfie, Maddie, Hunter. Does Moon have anybody live? The answer is one person that I do not know well. So I guess I'm just going to keep it here, guys. We will see you all not next week, Saturday. God, my days are all messed up. That shows you how much overtime affects me. I'll catch you guys Saturday for Pal World. Hopefully we can get Hawk or Tomahawk or Lone Wolf in just to cause some chaos, maybe even take on some bosses. I hope to see you guys Saturday. If not, I'll catch you at the next stream you're at.